Hollywood, starting from animation. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276. $1.5 billion to build a science and technology park. M.R. Wald, you are welcome. After Zhu Ke arrived in Seattle and expressed his willingness to invest in Seattle, he immediately got feedback from the local government. Mundo Gusta, male, 42 years old, has served as a member of the Seattle City Council, a member of the Washington State Legislature, director of the Seattle Mayor's Office, and deputy mayor. M.R. Gusta, I didn't expect you to take me to visit Seattle in person. Zhu shook hands with him. Yes, for Mr. Wald, a wealthy man with billions of dollars and great influence in the internet field, it is more appropriate for me to receive him. Gusta let out a hearty laugh. In addition, the Seattle local government officials around also expressed their welcome to Zhu Ke's arrival. How can they not welcome rich people to invest? These are all political achievements, leaving aside the tax payment, just to solve the employment problem of a large number of people is enough to make Seattle's local government excited. The chief assistant Alexander whispered. Besides Zhu, boss, what they mainly value is the employment of the unemployed. This will be of great help to them in their future elections, so that's it. Zhu Ke knew immediately Zhu's journey through the present day is no longer the original Xiaobei. Thinking of this, Zhu Ke couldn't help but think of an anecdote. At the beginning of 2000, before the internet bubble burst, the U.S. federal government launched an investigation on Microsoft's monopoly in an attempt to dismember Microsoft. This move was supported by the federal government. However, in Seattle, where the Microsoft headquarters is located, the local city government has openly accused the federal government of fooling around. Why? Why did the Seattle city government choose to work against the federal government? Because Microsoft has 7,500 employees in Seattle. Once Microsoft's monopoly investigation is verified and appraised, many employees will inevitably be laid off, and the unemployed will definitely accuse the city government of inaction and affect the performance of officials and congressmen. Under various factors, of course, the Seattle city government is on the side of Microsoft and chooses to oppose the federal government. Haha. After Zhu understood, he immediately said, M.R. Gusta, not much else. Once the LinkedIn company under my name settles in Seattle, then we will solve the employment problem of at least 1,000 people. Hearing that, the local officials in Seattle were immediately overjoyed. Thank you, Mr. Wald, for your support of our work, and thank you for your contribution to the people of Seattle. Gusta is indeed a veteran politician, a big hat of praise, which is putting on Zhu's head one by one. The words are serious. Zhu smiled again. If possible, I would buy a large piece of land in the Seattle area to build a science and technology park for the LinkedIn company. This also requires the employment of a large number of construction workers, and the government and Gusta Mr.'s strong support. We will definitely support. There is no reason for Gusta not to support it. He is too happy to be too late. To purchase a large piece of land and build a science and technology park, it is bound to hire a large number of workers, and in transportation, materials, medical care, food, industrial equipment, etc., Zhu Ke will definitely invest heavily, which is expected to be no less than $500 million achievement, proper political achievement. In the next few days, Gusta took off his work and served Zhu diligently. M.R. Wald, are you sure? Gusta looked forward to it. Of course, Zhu Ke said, I feel the enthusiasm of 4 million people in Seattle and the attitude of your government. Therefore, I decided to invest in Seattle. It is estimated that the investment amount will not be less than $1.5 billion in 3 years. $1.5 billion. For a while, Gusta and other officials were all very excited. This is $1.5 billion in 1999, not $1.5 billion in 2020. The price-performance ratio is completely different. 900 acres, that's right. Zhu Ke's fancy place is located in the suburbs of Seattle, covering an area of about 900 acres, about 5,400 acres, of land. The land in the suburbs of Seattle was still very cheap in 1999. However, after the internet bubble burst, real estate prices in Seattle rose one after another. Until the subprime mortgage crisis broke out in 2008, they increased by a full 170%. If you don't do anything, you will earn a profit. Zhu Ke calculated in his heart, of course. The purchase of land and an investment of $1.5 billion cannot be done overnight. It is estimated that it will take at least half a year to fully finalize the plan to invest in Seattle. Understand, we understand, Gusta said immediately. Thank you for your understanding. After all, this is a big deal. I can't act rashly. Zhu Ke pretended to apologize. Gusta wouldn't question Zucker's financial resources. Zhu Ke owns 2% of Yahoo stocks and 8% of Amazon stocks, with a total value of up to $3.8 billion, and it continues to grow due to the internet wave. This is a well-known thing in the United States. And no one doubts Zhu Ke's financial resources, and LinkedIn, as the world's first company operating mainly on internet recruitment, even though the current market value is not high, its influence is not small. It has signed employment cooperation agreements with thousands of well-known companies. It is located in the Seattle area, and the local government it's too late to welcome. What's more, once the industrial technology park is settled, it is bound to have a huge effect on the surrounding land price increase. $1.5 billion. In 3 years, $1.5 billion have been invested. There is no pressure from me, and I can also apply for interest-free, low-interest loans from the local government, which can completely complete the empty glove white wolf. Furthermore, once the dot-com bubble breaks out, I will take advantage of the trend and make a big profit. Isn't $1.5 billion going to be extremely easy by then? Classmate Zhu Ke couldn't help being in a good mood. Returned to Los Angeles. As soon as he returned, Zhu Ke informed Jeff Weiner, the president of LinkedIn, of his idea of building a science and technology park based on LinkedIn. I fully support the boss decision. LinkedIn is currently valued at $130 million, which is far lower than many internet companies, but our foundation is solid enough to implement a steady strategy. When it will take off, we will definitely need a science and technology park of its own. Jeff Weiner laughed. Zhu laughed immediately. Okay, that's it, Zhu Ke said. In the near future, I will arrange for someone to form a dedicated team to work with the Seattle area to determine the investment plan. It is estimated that the actual investment will be completed within half a year. Having an independent science and technology park is an important means for an enterprise to enhance its brand influence. Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook. May I ask these giant enterprises www.uxiaspit.com which one does not have its own independent technology industrial park? Although the price of land in the United States has always been inexpensive, the price of land in major cities and their surrounding suburbs is constantly increasing. How can Zhu let go of this opportunity? To take advantage of this opportunity, the LinkedIn company must have its own independent campus. Zhu Ke shook his fist. The next day, Global Times published an article with Zhu Ke as the headline. New super billionaire Zhu Ke Wald, with a net worth of only tens of billions of dollars. As soon as this news report came out, it immediately caused a sensation in the United States. The second update is sent. Please ask for votes and support. Chapter 277, The United States is in an uproar. Zhu Ke Wald, his net worth is only tens of billions of dollars. Jordan, the head of the distribution department of Paramount Pictures, slightly twitched his mouth, and said, the editors of the Global Times have a misunderstanding of the terminally. Do they think that the $10 billion net worth is too low? Assistant Tina's beautiful face also twitched slightly. It's Zhu Ke's net worth. It's amazing, Mr. Jordan, I also read this report in the Global Times. I knew that Mr. Wald was very rich, but I never thought he was so rich. Tina was shocked. Jordan nodded blankly. The whole Hollywood knows that Zucker is rich, but before that, how much money Zhu Ke has is a guess by one person. After all, Zhu Ke's companies are basically non-listed companies and have no obligation to disclose financial reports to the outside world. Now that the Global Times has disclosed it, Zhu Ke's fortune is revealed to the world. However, his wealth is beyond everyone's imagination, especially for Jordan. It was shocking like a bolt from the blue. Jordan has known Zhu Ke for more than 4 years. It can be said that he has witnessed Zhu Ke's wealth from nothing to billions. Once upon a time, Zhu Ke and Jordan had to argue for several days for a film copyright area of $1 million, and the exchange of words was particularly fierce at that time. Zhu Ke, a well-rounded man in the market, wears the slightest indication that he will become a billionaire. However, facts speak louder than words. Zhu Ke's status today far exceeds Jordan's judgment and estimation. Damn Zhu, he said he was an old friend with me. Why didn't he remember to remind me when he bought the stocks of Yahoo, Amazon, and Microsoft? Even if my capital is small, it is still big enough to make a fortune. Jordan was sour. It's the same for everyone. Jordan gritted his teeth and said, just because of Zhuke's shameless enthusiasm and his style of behavior, I expected him to be successful early on, but his current success has greatly exceeded my judgment. No, accurate said, it is beyond my inherent knowledge. I have never heard of anyone who can make a net worth of tens of billions in a mere 4 years, not even Bill Gates. Upon hearing this, assistant Tina nodded immediately. In fact, more than Jordan alone was shocked. Pixar Animation. Zhuke, you bastard, the last time you went to your farm, you said that you didn't have much money, but now that the media has exposed, what else can you say? No, you have to treat me well. Huh? Don't forget, you came to my house last month, but in front of me, you walked along with 3 bottles of Merlot, Chateau Patrice, red wine and followed me. Cry poor, I have never seen your stingy friend, okay? You promised. Once your yacht is in place, I must use it for a few days on the maiden voyage. John Lasseter, the head of the Pixar 5 Tigers, was constantly arguing with Zhu Ke on the phone, and his saliva flew wildly. He asked for a lot of benefits from his classmate Zhu Ke, of course. This is his John Lasseter. The two of them have a deep friendship, so you change someone else. Would you try? Hey, Lasseter, that fellow Zhuke really has a net worth of tens of billions of dollars now. At this moment, Andrew Stanton, also one of the Pixar 5 Tigers, came over and asked, not that much? Lasseter laughed. I just finished the phone call with Zhu Ke. He said that his net worth is only $9.36 billion, which is not as exaggerated as the Global Times said. That's almost the same. Andrew said loudly, it's really the same. However, in the Global Times article, there are differences in the overall value of the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group. Goldman Sachs Investment Bank's valuation of Jinchuguang Entertainment Group is as high as $3.26 billion. According to the information collected from various parties, the Global Times estimates that it is as high as $7 billion. The Global Times article claimed, World Pictures currently has more than 2,300 films in its library. Except for nearly 20 self-made films, the rest will be purchased from outside at that time. This part of the Wald Pictures has nearly $100 million in funding. Then the problem is coming. As we all know, most of the more than 2,300 film and television rights purchased by Wald Pictures for $100 million are non-popular film rights, and many films are also non-theater movies. Therefore, many commentators from the outside world say that Wald Pictures film library is a garbage station, which specializes in acquiring the copyright of garbage movies. But, from the current development trend of the DVD market, in the first half of this year, the sales of DVD players increased at a rate of 90% per month, and the growth rate of DVD discs for DVD players was as high as 165%. This shows that the people's demand for DVD video discs. The growth rate is extremely alarming. World Pictures holds the rights to more than 2,300 movies, the number of which is huge, ranking 8th in Hollywood. The rights to more than 600 movies in the DreamWorks film library are several times higher. Therefore, it is not difficult for us to conclude that with the increasing growth of DVDs, whoever can obtain more film and television copyrights can reap more benefits. The value of more than 2,300 film and television rights purchased by Wald Pictures for $100 million has doubled to $300 million so far, and it continues to grow. The editor dared to assert that in 3 years, the value of these 2,300 film copyrights will inevitably exceed $800 million. At the same time, the evaluation of the Up TV network and WBTV network in the article of the Global Times is also very high beyond the assessment of Goldman Sachs Investment Bank. Global Times professional reporters and editors have repeatedly mentioned Prison Break, The Walking Dead, The Big Bang Theory, Bankrupt Sisters and other boutique TV series in their writings, and have repeatedly used HBO TV as an analogy. Finally, it claims that the valuation of Golden Dawn Television Group is at least more than $2 billion, which is more than $1 billion estimated by Goldman Sachs. Tisk Tut Lasseter said, is the editor of the Global Times an agent? You know that Zhu Ke's company is not listed, and they can roughly judge the result. Andrew echoed, the big difference is true. You also know that this is the result of Golden Dawn Entertainment Group's unlisted listing. Think about it, once it goes public, how high will its stock price be? How much will its overall market value rise? Lasseter immediately condensed his expression, the gap between listed companies and companies that have not yet been listed is not so big. In fact, on the day the Global Times disclosed Zhu Ke's wealth, a number of well-known Wall Street investment banks contacted Zhu Ke proactively, claiming that they would use the shortest possible time to help Jinshuguang Entertainment Group go public, but Zhu Ke refused. Numerous stockholders are also gearing up, hoping to make a fortune by listing Golden Dawn Entertainment Group. What the is Zhu Ke Wald up to? Why is this company not listed yet? That's right, now the market is so good. Once Golden Dawn Entertainment Group goes public, its market value can definitely reach tens of billions of dollars. You are right, just say Time Warner Group. Why is its market value as high as $150 billion US? If it is not listed, where does it get such a high market value? People in the United States talked about it, and the pursuit of many media reporters made Zhu Ke unbearable. Of course, www.wuxiaspit.com also brought Zhu Ke a lot of benefits. The sales of movies produced by Wald Pictures in the offline market have increased a lot recently. Upn TV network has increased a lot of subscription members. The number of viewers on the WBTV network has also increased by several points over the same period. The overall situation is very good. Bang! Zhu Ke shot the desktop and laughed loudly. The exposure was exposed, and I have no shame. Alexander, you inform Hashimoto Taro that her bias dolls can be listed in advance. Boss-wise, Alexander smiled and said, with a hit disclosed by the Global Times, we can promote the bias doll and save a lot of publicity funds. The first update is sent. Chapter 278, Bias Dolls Listed. Suburbs of Los Angeles, Switburn Area Bias Doll Factory. The Bias Doll Factory, which covers an area of 20 acres, is really a small and inconspicuous factory in the dense Bushwick area of the industrial manufacturer. For those factories with an area of hundreds of acres, the doll factory is too petty. However, for the factory owners in Swick, no one dares to underestimate the Bias Doll Factory, because they know Bias Doll Factory, which belongs to the chain stores around SpongeBob SquarePants House, and is its subsidiary who knows the name of Zhu Ke Wald. In the words of the owner of the YT Home Textile Factory in Swick, the Bias Doll Factory itself is not eye-catching, and it has nothing to do with it, but its owner is Mr. Zhu Ke Wald, so everyone will give you some advice. Face off. At the same time, the Bias Doll Factory, which covers an area of 20 acres in the Swick region, is not a factory that produces and manufactures products. It prefers to be a headquarters for Bias Dolls design and research and development. In this regard, it is similar to many car brands in the United States and Europe. Only keep the headquarters and design and R&D institutions in the country where you are located, and set up specific production and manufacturing factories in countries and regions with low labor costs such as Australia and Asia. The same is true for Bias Dolls. The design and R&D headquarters of Bias Doll is located in the Swick area of Los Angeles, while the factories responsible for manufacturing and production are set up in Daishianchao and Asan. Low labor costs, land prices, and material costs will greatly increase the profit margin of Bias Doll. 9 o'clock, Taro Hashimoto, president of the SpongeBob House chain and general manager of the Bias Doll Company, gathered a group of executives and opened a meeting. Bryant Ben, the former designer of Mattel Toys, the designer of Bias Dolls, and now the chief designer of Bias Dolls, was also on the list to attend this meeting. The total number of participants, up to 15 people. Everyone, I announce one thing, Taro Hashimoto said solemnly. Hearing that, all the people present were sitting right away. Yesterday, I received a notice from Mr. Wald, the chairman of the group company, that our Bias Dolls will be listed in advance. I personally replied clearly to Chairman Wald, agreeing to the early listing of the Bias Dolls. Hashimoto Taro announced early listing, because things were rushed. Everyone present was taken aback. The chairman and the boss have agreed. Where can they have any opinions? And Taro Hashimoto directly pointed out that this is a notice, not a discussion. Production department, how much inventory do we have at the moment? Taro Hashimoto asked one of the executives. The executive replied, the first batch of 5 Bias Dolls manufactured by Yasmin, Kolo, Cameron, Xiao and Sasha totaled 60,000. How little? Hashimoto Taro hasn't spoken yet, and other executives underneath are talking. This number is too low. Ahem. Taro Hashimoto coughed lightly. You don't have to complain about the lack of inventory. The first batch of 60,005 Bias Dolls are just samples. The second batch of Bias Dolls has already been shipped on board and is expected to arrive in the United States within 3 days. The number of this batch of dolls is a full 1 million pieces. That's it. Hearing this, everyone present heaved a sigh of relief. 1.06 million Bias Dolls, for Bias Dolls that have not yet been marketed. The number is definitely not low. Mr. Hashimoto, what about the price? Chief designer Bryant Ben asked. Regarding the price, The others present were also quite interested. Normal model, $8.90, limited edition, $60, premium edition, $110, special customized version, $200. As soon as this price list came out, it immediately aroused discussion among all the people present. I think it can. Yes. Barbie dolls are priced at $9.90. We are $1 lower than them, which is reasonable. After all, Mattel's Barbie dolls have been popular for nearly 50 years. The price of the limited edition and the exclusive edition is also relatively reasonable. At the beginning of the design, we made almost strict divisions on the materials and decorations of the ordinary, limited edition, and exclusive editions. The production of the limited edition and the exclusive edition, the cost is also several times or 10 times higher than that of ordinary models. The special custom model is $200. It is all modeled on Hollywood stars. We paid a huge endorsement fee. How can we not buy it a bit more expensive? Yes, Mattel's Barbie doll celebrity special custom model, but its price is as much as $300. It is called a black heart. How can we be so conscientious? Everyone talked a lot. The price of Barbie dolls is generally lower than that of Barbie dolls. After all, Mattel's Barbie dolls have decades of brand and influence. While discussing, everyone did not forget to satirize Mattel's black heart and praise the conscience of their Barbie dolls. But if you know the cost of making a single piece of Barbie doll, you will never say it is conscience. Calculating the cost of land, plant, equipment, materials, capital, labor, etc., on average, the cost of a Barbie doll is only $1, at a price of $8.90 for a regular model. For every Barbie doll regular model sold, Zhu Ke makes a gross profit of $7.90, 7-8 times profit ratio, a proper interpretation of the blood-sucking and dirty concept of capital coming to the world. Don't say that Zhu Ke's heart is black. In fact, Mattel's Barbie doll, its profit ratio is at least 10 times, it is even blacker. In fact, there are not many Barbie dolls in limited editions, exclusive editions, and celebrity customized editions. Hype. The scarcity is the most expensive thing. For example, the first batch of 20,000 Barbie dolls produced by Mattel in 1959 is now worth about $70,000 on the auction market. Similarly, Mattel launched a Barbie doll named Stefano Cancheri on the occasion of commemorating the 40th anniversary of the Barbie doll, and its price is even more staggering. It was created by a famous designer and wears a set of high-end jewelry, including Stefano's cubist necklace. This necklace is designed with 3 carats of white diamonds and 1 carat of rare pink emerald cut diamonds. She also wears the company's iconic diamond ring on her right hand. Whether it's her gorgeous black dress or her perfect eyebrows, this Barbie doll looks amazingly beautiful and makes everyone want one. This Barbie doll was auctioned in New York for $300,000. All these explain the importance of hype, marketing and propaganda. www.uxiaspit.com. Our boss Mr. Wald was exposed by the Global Times and his wealth is currently aroused in the United States. A big sensation, plus the International Children's Day approaching on June 1st, once our Barbie dolls are on the market, with anti-traditional and anti-Barbie design concepts, they are bound to arouse the market's popularity. Hashimoto Taro excitedly said, Bats doll, after all, leads the trend of the new era. Various matters were confirmed, and the media power of Golden Dawn Entertainment Group immediately made efforts to announce the Barbie doll's anti-traditional, anti-Barbie design concept. Yasmin, Kor, Cameron, Xiao and Sasha, these beautiful girls changed the dignity and beauty followed by Barbie dolls. They are from different races, have different skin colors, dress avant-garde, and energetic. Full of trend. As soon as the publicity came out, it instantly attracted children from 7 to 12 years old. The second update is sent. Chapter 279, Zhu Ke personally called off the court. We are the dolls of the new era Barbie dolls. My name is Yasmin and I am 15 years old this year. I hate people calling me cute because I like pop music, watching movies, and all cool things. I am called a rebellious girl by others. Colo. That's right, I am the one who likes to bounce the most. I love singing, I like rock music. If there's anyone who also likes rock music, you are welcome to sing and dance with me. I'm Cameron. Sexy girl Cameron, not Cameron. Don't you want to approach me? Hey, do you really dare to come over? Remember, the person who wants to crush you now is called Kung Fu Xiao. Hello everyone, I'm Sasha, a fashion designer. My favorite thing is to dress beautifully after getting up every day, and put on different styles of new clothes. so that everyone who sees me can be a bit more sensible. Call 6 o'clock in the evening in the advertising time of WBTV network. 5 biased dolls appeared in the advertisement, and they constantly showed themselves in front of the TV audience. They are rebellious and unruly. They are cute and beautiful, but they hate that others call them cute. They are new age girls who yearn for freedom. Unlike the princess dress and princess hat worn by Barbie dolls, biased dolls like to dress up as rock girls, lawyers, teachers, officials, and leading girls. From clothing to shoes and hats to jewelry and bags, the label of cute girl is completely abandoned. Everything is so cool and keeps up with the trend of the times. The appearance of 5 little guys, with anti-traditional, anti-Barbie, and cool styles, instantly amazed this era. Wow, what a cool doll. Yes, this is the doll that suits us. The princess series of Barbie dolls is too naive, and it's boring at all. Yasmin, Kolo, Cameron, Xiao and Sasha? They are so cool. In the United States at the end of the 1990s, the economy, politics, culture, and social structure were all at an inflection point of change. Even girls between the ages of 7 and 12 had spiritual characteristics similar to those of girls 10 years ago. Difference: girls who used to love princess dresses, dream of becoming a princess, living in a castle, and wishing to meet a perfect Prince Charming when they grow up. But the girls of the new era are different. Are we always just the kind of little princess who was caught by the dragon, crying so frightened, and completely unable to resist, and could only passively wait for the heroic prince to come to rescue? No. Can't we fight the dragon bravely? Can. We can. We are the girls who grew up in the new era. We have the courage, the spirit of sacrifice, and the courage to fight against all evil dragons. We are independent girls. Even without a prince, we can go forward. I'm Yasmin. I'm Kolo. I'm Sasha. Remember, we are not only cool girls, but also warriors fighting dragons. We are biased dolls. The advertisements of biased dolls are overwhelming. In a short period of time, it madly swept the land of North America. News, radio, television, internet, magazines, all the propaganda media that can be used, under the indiscriminate bombing of the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, have made countless families and countless 7-12-year-old girls in North America. We have a great interest in biased dolls. At the same time, in order to better promote the biased doll, Zhu doesn't mind using his recent heat to cooperate with the hype. For this reason, Zhu Ke also appeared on a variety show of WBTV network, and was called by biased doll in person. Mr. Wald, biased doll is your product, the host asked. Of course, Zhu Ke said proudly. Don't you think they are cool? Rebellious, unruly, pursuit of freedom, and yearning for beauty are their distinctive characteristics. Upon hearing this, the host immediately pretended to be surprised and said, your biased doll, with an anti-traditional and anti-Barbie slogan, is to fight Mattel's Barbie doll. No, host, you need to know a little bit. The biased dolls we created are definitely not Barbie dolls, nor can they become Barbie dolls. Zhu Ke's answer is very firm. It can be said to be categorical. What the hell? Zhu Ke, who doesn't engage in the internet and doesn't make movies, why is he going to play with dolls again? At this moment, Apple CEO Jobs, who was watching TV, couldn't help being surprised. In fact, many of Zhu's friends or unfriendly acquaintances have also received news that Zhu is going to sell dolls again. It's hard for them to know or not. It is true that Zhu's tens of billions of net worth is too high recently. Now he is crazy to call biased doll, and the news is overwhelming. They can always see these news from time to time. Jordan, is the Barbie doll of Mattel able to do? Zhu is the rhythm of giving away heads. Lay shitten. It's really shameless. The dignified tens of billions of billionaires actually end the promotion in person. However, they are directed at this shameless energy, coupled with anti-Barbie and anti-traditional settings, regardless of the final sale of biased dolls. What the result is, this fellow Zhu can make a fortune. He is really a talent. Murdoch, the biased doll's design is very novel and contemporary. I expect Mattel to be in trouble. There are so many savvy people in the United States. When Zhu personally stopped to promote the biased doll, many savvy people knew Zhu's plan and easily analyzed the pros and cons. They all knew that this was a money-selling business, selling biased doll. Maybe there's a profit. The owners and persons in charge of surrounding chain stores and toy sales stores across the United States are keenly aware of business opportunities. They immediately contacted the biased doll factory to seek a share of sales. What can Zhu do? Of course, the door-to-door business is accepted, in the face of the first batch of dealers who came to cooperate with him. Zhu Ke told Hashimoto Taro to give them a great discount. Biased doll ordinary model, priced at $8.9 US. Remember, This is not an appearance price, it's the unified retail price of the dealer's store. The ex-factory price given by the Bias doll factory to distributors in various places is roughly $6-8 Mr. Wald told me that reading www.uucan'tchew.com said he would like to thank you for your trust, so he gave you the first batch of cooperation partners to leave the factory at a very favorable price, $5. The average appearance price of each Bias doll is $5. Taro Hashimoto's words fell, and the dealers who came to cooperate immediately were very surprised, and they agreed to sign the contract in just 3 hours. 1.06 million Bias dolls were all out of the factory. The third and fourth batches produced from Asian factories, a total of 6 million Bias dolls, are also being rushed to the United States, June 1st, on International Children's Day. The Bias dolls that have been fully rolled out are officially listed and sold in North America. The first update is sent. Today is no accident. One more chapter will be updated. Everyone in the province says that the minister has updated too little. I was wronged. Chapter 280. 61 at in number 039, S a big cell at the start. According to the population data released by the Federal Census Bureau of the United States in 1998, as of December 1998, the total registered population of the United States was 312 million. There are more than 160 million men, accounting for 48.9% of the total population. There are more than 150 million women, accounting for 51.1% of the total population. It presents a population pattern with many boys and girls. Among them, there are roughly 12.8 million female children in the 7 to 12-year-old age group. In other words, our Bias dolls have 12.8 million potential consumer groups in the United States. If you count the number of people in the general age group of 7 to 12 years old, it is estimated that there will be more than 1 million people. Of course, people who come to the United States for tourism and temporary residence are no longer in the minority. Taro Hashimoto, president of SpongeBob House, said loudly, 1/10. As long as we have 1/10 of the market share, we can sell more than 1 million Bias dolls. On June 1st, International Children's Day, as parents, wouldn't they give their daughter a gift? Those entrepreneurs, governments, social welfare departments, charitable foundations, etc., will also bring gifts to orphanages and children in poverty-stricken areas on June 1st. Isn't it the first choice for a Bias doll that is most suitable for girls and is not expensive? Utah. The capital Salt Lake City chain stores around Old Billy movies today. As the Old Billy who owns 7 stores in Utah, he is very busy at the moment. Sweat is full of sweat on his forehead, but his face is full of smiles. Cody. Don't you worry about my affairs. Old Billy laughed and looked at the man in suit and leather shoes in front of him. The man in the suit nodded abruptly and said, "That's good. After all, you also know that these 2,000 Bias dolls of different styles were not purchased by me. I purchased them for the Dawson Charity Foundation." Ha ha ha. Don't worry, Old Billy smiled and said, "You must have seen the recent commercials of Bias doll. Yasmin, Cor, Cameron, Xiao and Sasha are so popular with children." Old Billy successfully sold 2,000 Bias dolls at a price of $8.50, which is lower than the retail price of $8.90 in the store. Deposited $17,000. Zook is indeed an old friend of mine. He sold me 10,000 Bias dolls for only $5. This morning, the store hadn't opened yet, so I already sold 2,000, with an account of $17,000, and a net profit $7,000. Tusk. It seems that I can make a lot of money just by selling the Bias doll today. Old Billy, Zook's old friend, had a real smile. The same thing is happening all over the United States. Distributors and retail shop owners everywhere, they bought Bias dolls from Zook. With their unique contacts and channels, they sold a lot of dolls before the store opened. Social welfare institutions and charities have made small profits. 8 o'clock in the morning. Bias dolls are sold in all major cities in the United States. The best Children's Day gift: Bias doll. The coolest girl doll: Bias doll. Brave, independent, trendy, fashionable Bias doll. Posters and slogans of Bias dolls were hung up at many retail stores and the surrounding doorways. Pennsylvania, the capital Harrisburg. Mom, look, those are Bias dolls. Yasmin and Chloe, a mother and daughter, walked to the door of a doll shop called Little Coco. The daughter took her current hand and suddenly screamed excitedly. Mother Celia knelt down, touched her daughter's hair, and said gently, "Baby, do you want to take them home?" "Okay." The little girl nodded heavily and said, "Yes, mother." Yasmin and Colo are so cool. They can sing and dance. They are very cool. I want to take them home and dress them beautifully." Mother Celia smiled and said, "But baby, aren't you always the princess who wants to buy Barbie dolls in previous years?" Upon hearing this, the little girl shook her head. Immediately she curled her lips and said, "No. I'm 7 years old and I'm a big girl. I don't want to play with Barbie anymore. They are too naive. They, nor are not as cool as Barbie's dolls. Well, in short, I want the Barbie's doll today, and I want a full set of 5 packs, okay, my baby, my little angel." Mother Celia laughed and kissed her daughter on the face, and led her into the store. 5 minutes later, whether it's Mother Celia or a little girl, they all hold large bags of Barbie's dolls. Barbie's doll ordinary model, retail price $8.9. They bought a full set of 5 packs for a total of $44.50. Barbie's doll's house, including houses, interiors, furniture, etc., is priced at $180. I have to say that her mother Celia loves her daughter very much and throws more than $200 on Children's Day just to make her daughter happy. Of course, the premise is that Celia's family is rich enough, thanks to the media power of Jinshiguang Entertainment Group. Before 10 a.m. on the day of Children's Day, the purchases by social welfare agencies and government relief departments are not included. Only the results of dealers and stores' feedback. Barbie's dolls have been sold nearly 300,000 pieces. Not only that, but the accessories, clothing, cosmetics, are also sold a lot. Sales can be described as hot. Los Angeles SpongeBob House main store on Sunset Avenue was the manager of the store, James Shawn, together with the 5 sales employees in the store, are so busy that they can be described without touching their feet. "Mona, didn't you see that the Barbie's dolls on the shelf are almost sold out? Hurry up and move out 2 more boxes of Barbie's dolls from the warehouse." "Hello, madam, you are going to buy celebrity customized Barbie's dolls. Okay, they're all here. Each is priced at $200. Even when James is busy, he is able to serve every guest with enthusiasm. As Zuke's old friend and old man, he remembers not to shame Zuke. "Hi, James." At this moment, John Lasseter, one of Pixar's 5 tigers, led his sons and daughters into the store. "Hi, John, long time no see. This is your daughter and son. Oh, they are both very handsome and beautiful." James greeted him with a few spare moments. Lasseter said, "It seems that you are very busy today." "Well, the sales of Barbie's dolls look very good," James gestured. "Yes, for these few hours this morning, Barbie's dolls are more popular than SpongeBob SquarePants and Peppa Pig. We emptied the shelves 3 times. Oh? It seems Zuke has succeeded again this time." Lasseter's face is full of smiles. www.wooksiaspit.com. Friends' business is getting bigger and bigger. Lasseter, who has always been not jealous, is naturally very happy. "Dad, come here, I want to buy 2 dolls, Xiao and Sasha." At this moment, Lasseter's young daughter pulled her father's shirt anxiously. She saw that many children bought the Barbie's dolls, and saw that there were a lot of spaces on the shelves. She couldn't help being anxious. "Dad, hurry up." The son was also anxious. "Well, Daddy will buy it for you." Lasseter laughed. James served them enthusiastically. However, some people are upset at the moment, even extremely angry. His name is Mattel. The second update was sent, and the minister continued to open the third update. Chapter 281, $10 million on the first day. Mattel chairman and CEO Brian Stockton looked solemnly at the dozen or so Mattel executives present. The atmosphere was extremely solemn. "Everyone, I just want to ask, who is it that drove the designer of Barbie's doll, Brian Ben, out of Mattel?" Stockton roared. "That's right, just roar." As everyone knows, Mattel chairman Stockton has always been very hot-tempered. "It is common to swear and smash things, boss. This is Ben Ford, the leader of the second group of the design department," an executive replied. "Out." Stockton waved his hand and roared, "Kill me that damn, mean, ignorant guy out of the company, and I don't want to hear him in this industry, okay?" "Yes, boss, I'll let the security blast him away immediately, and the industry will block him," the design director shouted immediately, and the whole person seemed filled with righteous indignation. Now the whole scene is silent. Who doesn't know that his boss is furious? 6.1 International Children's Day. It is not our American Children's Day. It is created by our toy companies such as Mattel, Baby, and other toy companies, including Bandai in Asia, Lego in Europe, and many other media. After several years of hard work, Children's Day aims to increase profitability. In recent years, it has finally improved a little, but I never thought that at this festival, Barbie's doll would be cut off. Oh my god, obviously it is the fat in our mouth. but the new entrant gave me a bite. It is still a very fat bite. Do you know what I want to do now, asshole? I just want to curse now, Zhu Ke Wald, this dirty, nasty, humble, shameless guy. Why does he compete with us for the market? Stockton yelled constantly, and no one dared to speak out on the whole scene. In fact, as he said 10 years ago, there were not many people in the United States who had heard of the term 6.1 International Children's Day. In many countries, there are Children's Days in their respective countries. For example, South Korea's Children's Day is scheduled for May 5th every year, Japan, November 15th, United Kingdom, July 14th, Cuba, July 6th, Singapore, October 1st, Great Heaven, June 1. The statutory Children's Day in the United States is May 1st. But many illiterate and rough people in the United States are not keen on it. There are few festive atmospheres on that day, and most of them are only this Children's Day. 6.1 International Children's Day is November 1949. The International Federation of Democratic Women held a council meeting in Moscow to commemorate the killing of more than 140 male citizens over 16 years old in Lidice village in the Czech Republic on June 10, 1942. And all the babies, and escorted women and 90 children to concentration camps, and the specially set up June 1st each year is designated as International Children's Day. It is not a specific Children's Day in socialist countries, and Children's Day in many countries is also on June 1st. The United States is only 6.1 Children's Day, and that does not matter in order to chase sales and increase profitability, such as Mattel, Baby Bayo, Bandai, Lego and other famous toy giants in the United States and other countries. They have united many media and spent great efforts to force the 6.1 Children's Day in the United States. From this point of view, it is like the two major shopping carnivals of Singles Day and Black Friday, only if profit is found, capital will appear and promote it. Shit. 6.1 Children's Day appeared in the United States. We spent a lot of manpower, material and financial resources to make it out. Zhu Ke Wald did nothing but came out to pick peaches. Is this appropriate? He is not particular about it. Mattel chairman Stockton has reason to be angry as of 12 noon. According to the feedback from dealers and stores across the United States, the sales of Mattel's Barbie dolls today are lower than the newly listed Bias dolls. In just a few hours, the Bias doll has sold nearly 500,000 pieces, and the rest of the matching doll accessories have also been sold a lot. Guys, what are we waiting for? Stockton said solemnly. There is no doubt that her Barbie doll's competitors have appeared. Everyone at the scene was silent, and they all looked ugly. A long-time marketing executive Miro said in disbelief. Boss, it's not that serious, right? Kristen, the deputy head of the marketing department, echoed. Our Barbie has met countless opponents, but we have put out all of them. Bias is not qualified, right? Is Bias doll an opponent? Many people think their bosses are a little alarmist. Humph, Stockton snorted coldly. Don't you think I am exaggerating? Look, time will prove my judgment. I said it. Facts have proved that Stockton, the chairman of Mattel, is a very visionary person. In the history of the original time and space, Bias dolls were widely welcomed by the market once they were launched. In just a few years, they quickly caught up with Barbie dolls in terms of sales and turnover. The market share was divided between the two. Therefore, the two doll companies are called rivals for life. SpongeBob House Company, 8 o'clock in the evening. Boss, the sales data results are out. Hashimoto Taro ran all the way to Zhuke and bowed to Zhuke. Well, Taro Hashimoto can't change the customs of the little devil for a while. The result? Zhu Ke asked. The 1.06 million Bias dolls shipped out of the factory have sold 940,000 pieces today. Many dealers and stores that have received few items are already sold out. The rest of the accessories are also sold quite a lot. Today, the overall sales reach 24 million. In US dollars, our Bias doll factory has a turnover of 10.22 million US dollars, and the profit is considerable. Taro Hashimoto's face was full of smiles. The sales of the Bias doll factory totaled 10.22 million US dollars, which is undoubtedly a good start. Yes, Zhu Ke also clenched his fists and said with excitement, stay steady. 6.1 Children's Day in the United States is after all a niche festival, and it is a promotion day for major toy manufacturers. www.wuxiaspit.com can't be proud. Today, the sales of Bias dolls surpassed Barbie dolls, not because Bias dolls won, but because Zhuke invested heavily in publicity funds. I know, boss. On Christmas Eve last year, Mattel sold more than 4 million Barbie dolls in one day, accounting for nearly 50 million US dollars. We are still far behind. But I have confidence in the future of bias dolls. Taro Hashimoto said firmly he has confidence, and Zhu certainly has confidence in the history of the original time and space. Bias dolls were at their peak, and their annual sales were as high as more than $7 billion. Where is it now? It must be said that thanks to the strength of the bias doll, Zhu's net worth is bound to enter a period of rapid growth in the next few years. Chapter 282, Preparations for Reaper is Coming. In the past few days, the sales of bias dolls have declined, which does not constitute a threat to the sales of Barbie dolls. However, thanks to a wave of strong publicity and Zhu's personal appearance on call, it still gets a high degree of attention in just a few days. After 940,000 bias dolls were sold on the first day, a total of 1.2 million bias dolls were sold in the following 2, 3, and 4 days. The data has declined significantly. This is also inevitable even if there was no National Statutory Children's Day in the United States in 1999. Many people have almost no concept of 6.1 Children's Day, but thanks to the promotion of capital forces such as Mattel and Kidball, it is a holiday. After all, the subsequent sales issues were also expected by Zhu Ke, Taro Hashimoto and others for the follow-up matters of the bias doll. Zhu has the full authority to be in charge of Taro Hashimoto, and warned him to fight steadily. Thanksgiving, Christmas and other peak sales seasons is the focus of bias doll's follow-up efforts. June 5, Zhu Ke, who had just entered the office of Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, received 2 documents from Wald Pictures. File 1, The God of Death is Coming. File 2, Butterfly Effect. The preparatory work for the movie Death is Coming has been successfully completed. The actors and crew have been informed, and the filming is scheduled to start on June 10. The film has a total investment of $21 million and is directed by James Wang Yiu. The filming cycle is expected to be 6 weeks and is scheduled to be released in mid-September. The producer is Todd Phillips. In fact, the most suitable candidates to be the producers are definitely Bill Sr., the president of Wald Pictures, and Kevin Fitch, the vice president. However, their main work now is Harry Potter and Spider-Man. 2 movies. Todd Phillips is no longer waiting. 2 years ago, he worked for the Up TV network under the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, participated in the production of the Go Talent variety show, and served as the deputy director and executive director. In the 21st century, Todd Phillips also started. He has made his own way of being a great director. The Hangover series, Joker 2019, Goo was directed and filmed by Todd Phillips. Yes, the follow-up can give Todd more opportunities. Producers and directors will be his main jobs in the future. Zhu Ke said to himself, the movie Reaper is coming, but Zhu still attaches great importance to the series of movies. We must know that in the 21st century in the United States, series of movies are a business that will never lose money. As for the choice of actors for the film, Zhu Ke didn't care too much. The movie Reaper is Coming is a typical movie of the genre of the story makes the actor rather than the movie of the story makes the actor. How about the actors? It is not important to the movie Reaper is Coming. Changing the roles of the male and female protagonists has little or no impact. The Butterfly Effect. Do you want to open a small range of public selection? Zhu Ke laughed. The document sent by Wald Pictures included a list of actors who will soon be invited to audition. At the moment, Zhu picked up the phone and dialed an internal number. Alexander, come here. Okay, boss. Not long after, Alexander, the chief assistant who received the call, came to Zhu's office. Alexander, you notify Wald Pictures and tell them to add 2 names to the list of actors invited to the Mirror, namely Michael Fassbender and Amy Adams. Zucker said. Hearing this, Alexander said, need special advice? That's not necessary. Zhu shook his head and said, Michael Fassbender participated in our movie 300 Spartan, is a good potential actor. Amy Adams, I met a waitress at the celebration party. Ying Shen. Well, you should know her. I told her to leave you a phone number. As for other aspects, everything should be done in accordance with the rules. Okay, boss. Alexander nodded. Of course Zhu wouldn't take care of them in particular. Everyone is not relative. I admire you and will give you a chance, but it does not mean that I will use you. Actors who can make money for the company are good actors. Hollywood is such a reality. Zhu is such a reality. As for the unspoken rules, come on, Zhu Ke is not a stallion, so if you see one, you will be on one. The next day somewhere in Los Angeles, Michael, your chance is here. Miss Farah, the agent, looked at her artist Michael Fassbender with excitement. The young Mr. Magneto Wang has a look of bewilderment. What opportunity? You make it clear, Farah. Fassbender doubted. Snapped. The agent. Miss Farah patted her forehead and said, I tell you, Just now Wald Pictures sent you an audition notice. I rushed over as soon as I received the news. Michael, that's Wald Films. Industry's new film Butterfly Effect. Hearing this, Fassbender immediately shined. Of course he has heard of the Butterfly Effect movie at the Celebration banquet more than half a month ago. He heard James McAvoy, Paul Walker and others mention it. He has participated in the movie Spartan 300 Warriors. Of course, he knows what it means to appear in Wald Pictures movies. However, but Farah, what about the movie where director John Joan Viking invited me to be the actor? Fassbender hesitated. Haha, Miss Farah said with disdain. What is the old fellow John Joan Viking? Although he has won the Oscar for Best Director award, but it is all the old calendar. In the past 10 years, he has made any big box office movies. Fassbender, Miss Farah continued. Michael, believe me. Actors who have commercial value in Hollywood are good actors. Those who are mixed in literary and artistic films have no future. Seize the opportunity of Wald Pictures, and you are up for it. The latter is the key. You can't hesitate. Speaking hard and earnest. In the end, Fassbender gritted his teeth and agreed. Looking at the entire Hollywood, apart from a few well-known actors, few people will reject the olive branch of Wald Pictures, especially for young actors. They are all in droves. An actor training class somewhere in Los Angeles. Ding ding ding. The sudden ringing of the telephone in the classroom interrupted the acting class. Damn, the acting teacher said angrily. Which cell phone is ringing? How many times have I said that you must turn off your cell phone before class? Huh? It's you. Miss Amy Adams. Sorry. Amy Adams got up and apologized again and again. Many performance class students around will also smile, and my teacher's temper is not very good. It can be called grumpy. Turn off the collection. www.wooksyaspit.com. Do you hear me? The teacher yelled coldly. Okay, teacher, I will close it right away. In the rush, mistakes are common. No, Amy, who wanted to turn off the phone, accidentally pressed the answer button. Hello, is it Miss Adams? This is Hells James from the production department of Wald Pictures. On behalf of the crew of Wald Pictures Butterfly Effect, I invite you to audition. Are you listening? The voice on the phone immediately changed the colors of everyone in the classroom. The teacher's angry expression immediately turned into consternation and then into joy. Amy, what are you waiting for? The teacher suddenly said eagerly. Hurry up and answer the phone. Please, that's the famous Wald Pictures. The first update is sent. Chapter 283, Bluetooth Technology. Amy Adams received a call from Wald Pictures and immediately thanked him repeatedly on the phone. After the telephone communication is over, Amy Adams returns to the classroom and prepares to continue the class. Amy, are you back for class? The teacher said. Huh? Amy was puzzled. The teacher immediately said, your priority now is not to attend the class, but to seize this opportunity. You need to know that Wald Pictures films, but not everyone has the opportunity to audition. You should now prepare more. Is teacher? Amy Adams replied and planned to leave the classroom. Come back. However, the teacher stopped her again, took out a notebook from the briefcase and handed it to her. Teacher, what is this? The teacher laughed and said, this is some experience of recording audition notes. Although I have not played any important role in Hollywood as a teacher, I have some experience. I think I should be able to help you as much as possible. Hearing this, Amy was moved and bowed deeply to the always harsh teacher. For a while, all the students in the entire classroom looked at Amy Adams, who was changing away with envy, and even some people would be jealous. Why is that person not me? But why am I not so lucky? Wald Pictures Alexander, the chief assistant, walked into Zucker's office. Something? Zhu Ke looked up, who was working with his head down. Alexander nodded and said, there is indeed something. Just now, the girl named Amy Adams called and said to invite you to dinner and thank you for giving her this opportunity. At this moment, Alexander's face was full of playfulness. You guy, dare to make fun of me? Zhu Ke said angrily. Is it? Alexander pretended to be surprised. Then since the boss is not interested, I will help you reject her. After speaking, he was ready to leave. Come back, you fellow, Zhu Ke yelled. Alexander stopped for the first time, holding a smile on his face. Since people invited me so sincerely, then I can't directly refuse it. After all, I am a good young man who is willing to help others. Well, that's it. Zhu Ke was sincere. Yes, boss. Alexander laughed, and gave Zhu Ke a nondescript military salute. That night in a good grade restaurant in downtown Los Angeles, Amy Adams invited Zhu Ke to share dinner. What, isn't this Mr. Wald? Just as Zhu Ke stepped into the restaurant, he was suddenly stopped by a middle-aged man. Zhu Ke impressively knew this middle-aged man. William M. Holt, male, 46 years old, he works for Intel Corporation. He is a senior employee of Intel. He has been employed since 1974 and has held various positions. He is currently the Deputy General Manager of Intel Technology and Manufacturing Group. His position is considered one of the executives. Of course, Zhu Ke knows more than that. In 2006, Holt was promoted to the position of Senior Vice President of Intel. In 2013, he was promoted to the position of Executive Vice President and became one of the top executives in Intel's management. Hi, Mr. Holt, it's nice to see you again. Zhu Ke shook his hand. It is not the first time that the two have met. At several internet summits held in Silicon Valley, Zhu Ke had several friendly contacts with Holt. After a short greeting, Mr. Holt, I would like to congratulate you. Congratulations to you, Intel. I have seen recent news. Good guy, that's Bluetooth technology. Zhu Ke's tone was full of envy. Hearing that, Holt smiled and waved his hand. The news is exaggerated, too exaggerated, Zhu Ke firmly said. I don't think it's an exaggeration at all. Bluetooth technology is a far underestimated technology. I think the future is promising. If I don't have enough strength, I will definitely blend in. It's not an exaggeration at all, dude, that's Bluetooth technology. Not long ago, the Swedish company Ericsson publicized that they had overcome short-distance wireless transmission and wireless link technology and, after the nickname of the Danish King Harald, who was born as a pirate in the 10th century, this technology is defined as Bluetooth. The term Bluetooth was nicknamed Bluetooth because he liked to eat blueberries and his teeth were often stained blue. At that time, blueberries were considered unsuitable for eating because of the strange color, so this lover tasting a new king has also become a symbol of innovation and the courage to try. A few days ago, Ericsson invited industry leaders such as IBM, Intel, Nokia, and Toshiba to create a Bluetooth special interest group to formulate Bluetooth technology standards. This is definitely a very promising monopoly technology. Mr. Holt, you are not particular about it? Zhu Ke smiled and said, Bluetooth technology has a very broad prospect in the future. It has prospects in the fields of nodes, personal computers, including automobiles, information addition, aviation, consumer electronics, and military applications. It is unceremonious to say that the market created by Bluetooth technology is worth trillions of dollars. Its industrial value is not inferior to the later Wi-Fi technology at all. Haha, Holt sneered. It seems that I can't hide it from Mr. Wald. For Bluetooth technology, Zhu Ke naturally wants to share the pie. Everyone is the same after a change. In the trillion-dollar market, which one is not tempted? However, there is no way. The companies involved in the formulation of industry standards, Ericsson, IBM, Intel, Nokia and Toshiba, which one is not the industry leader with a market value of tens of billions? It's true that Zhu Ke is rich, but his influence is far from that of those big guys. Hey, Zhu Ke sighed. I have no chance to participate in this great project. Not at all. At this moment, Holt said suddenly. Hearing this, Zhu Ke lit up instantly in Holt's few words. Zhu knew that he really had the opportunity to participate in the Bluetooth dividend. Ericsson, IBM, Intel, Nokia and Toshiba, these 5 companies formulate the Bluetooth industry standard. Want to promote this technology and standard, undoubtedly need a lot of funds. Therefore, they jointly formed an alliance to conduct a private placement www.wuxiaspit.com to raise $30 billion in promotion funds. Companies and individuals participating in fundraising will enjoy dividends from Bluetooth technology for a period of 10 years. Will Zhu participate? Of course, this is a rare opportunity, a chance for many people to break their heads and want to participate, as long as it is a profitable business. Zhu Ke is interested. The two chatted for a while, then they parted. Good evening, Mr. Wald. You are beautiful tonight. Miss Adams. Zhu Ke met Amy Adams in the restaurant. The second update is sent thanks to the 9 layers of colored glaze. It is the 2 book friends that love Lolly for their reward. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284, Skype Internet Phone, Peer-to-Peer File Sharing. Dinner is very rich. Although Amy Adams came to Hollywood for the first time, she was born in an ordinary family and didn't have a lot of savings, but in order to invite her to dinner, she naturally did not hesitate to spend her money. Amy, this French Western meal is expensive, and it costs you money. Zhu Ke said while looking at the sumptuous dinner. I'm okay. Mr. Wald, I am a small actor, but I still have a small deposit. You can rest assured that I don't have any pressure. Amy Adams was extremely decent. That's good. Zhu Ke smiled and nodded. Amy smiled and said, it is an absolute honor to be able to have dinner with Mr. Wald. My friends are envious of it, however. Amy Adams, who was calm on the surface, was really distressed inside. Good guys, she spent a lot of money to invite Zhu Ke to dinner. It was more than $2,000, which was her salary for nearly a month. She is shrewd. As an ordinary person, she would definitely reveal the state of spending a lot of money inadvertently, but she didn't. She said that she had a small deposit. This is definitely not pretending to be big money, but a smart person's style of acting. If she chooses to say that this dinner cost her nearly a month's salary, what would you tell Zhu Ke to say? There is no doubt that Amy Adams is not a fuel-efficient lamp. Mr. Wald, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to participate in the Butterfly Effect movie, Amy said gratefully. Zhu Ke smiled and said, all I give you is an audition opportunity. As for whether you can win the chance of the Butterfly Effect crew, it is all up to you, Amy. Upon seeing this, Zhu Ke immediately added, don't get me wrong, I am not referring to the mess of red sofas and unspoken rules. What can win you the audition will always be the actor's own role fit and acting skills. Of course, there is still pay. Classmate Zhu Ke does not engage in unspoken rules, but the actor's quality and low price are the primary considerations throughout Zhu Ke's family history. There are almost no super first-line actors in the co-actors. Time passed slowly. The dinner time was over soon, and Zhu Ke said goodbye and left. The two did not have subsequent contacts that night, such as hotels. Goodbye, Mr. Wald. Amy bid farewell to Zhu Ke. Classmate Zhu Ke likes beautiful women, which is good, but not as long as she is beautiful. She must sleep with her, please. I'm not a stallion. Besides, there are some things in a hurry. It was done overnight, and it was too boring. Burbank Villa, ding dong. As soon as he got home and his hadn't gotten hot yet, Zhu Ke heard the long-lost system prompt. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a copy of the technical content of the Kazaa shared tool. Kazaa, what is this? Not to mention Zhu Ke's illiteracy. In fact, many people's first reaction is definitely dumbfounded. The system is silent. Well, Zhu Ke's golden finger system is very unintelligent, relatively mechanical and low-level at the moment. Zhu Ke received this piece of content provided by the system after 10 seconds. Zhu Ke was a little wrong. Kazaa is a peer-to-peer file sharing tool developed based on P2P software. It provides network users with downloaded and shared resources. Simple search allows you to quickly find the files you want, including music, movies, software, games, pictures, and files, then download and share. Download Kazaa software, register as a member, upload movies, music, and games to Kazaa software, and other computer users can download it. The general process is like this. So that's what it meant. This, isn't it equivalent to the later Baidu network disk and cloud resource sharing? Zhu Ke is a little cautious and happy, but he is not too happy. Kazaa is a good peer-to-peer file sharing tool, but its profit prospects are not great, and the market value it generates is not high. Or in other words, peer-to-peer file sharing tools are not profitable by themselves, but it is not useless. It can rely on instant messaging software and search engines to enrich the content of other products. In my last life, I used a lot of network disk sharing resources, but that's the same thing. At this moment, Zhu Ke is obviously dissatisfied with what the system provides this time. That's right, Zhu Ke, who is now worth nearly $10 billion, doesn't like Kazaa software. Dispensable. In this regard, it is far too far behind the market value of Bluetooth, or in other words, there is almost no comparability. What? Suddenly, Zhu Ke discovered some unusual places from the list of Kazaa software producers: Nicholas Zenstrom, Sweden; Janus Fries, Denmark. Huh? Damn it, what the hell? Kazaa software turned out to be created by the two of them. For those who are not familiar with European and American entrepreneurs, many people may not know their two names, but it is definitely known to many people that they have established companies one after another: Skype, Internet phone, music. That's right, the founders of these two companies are the two creators of Kazaa software. Nicholas and Janus. Skype, Internet telephony, is an instant messaging software and voice call software. You can talk to any mobile phone in the world at a cost of $1 per minute, and it has nearly 700 million users worldwide. It was founded in 2002. In 2005, eBay purchased it at a sky-high price of $2.6 billion. In 2011, Microsoft bought Skype for another $8.5 billion. Another company, Music, created by Nicholas and Janice, is also developing strongly. Is an online music service website that provides ad-supported free streaming services and ad-free subscription services to 35 countries. It can be used as a website and also has client software for iPhone, iPod, iPad, Android, BlackBerry and Windows Phone mobile devices. It can play streaming music or song cache offline play. Its market prospects are quite gratifying. In other words, I now own the relevant design content of the Kazaa software and register a patent with it. Whether it is to bundle the LinkedIn website or bundle it with Google, it is a good result. At the same time, www.wooxiaspit.com. Can I still find Nicholas and Janice to form a new company for the development of Skype, internet telephony? Zhuke's heart moved. To be precise, Zhu Ke, who is not afraid of meat and vegetables, is very interested in all businesses that can make money easily. Woman, haha. They did not have a high level of achievement by harvesting money. Bluetooth? Let's have fun. I am not interested now. In fact, Zhu Ke knows that investing in Bluetooth is definitely profitable, but its profit can only be described as petty profits, and the bulk of it has been divided up by giant companies such as Intel and Ericsson. I won't play with you anymore. I will play by myself. The first update is sent today. The minister is dizzy and the update is late. Chapter 285, Sell Shares, by Marvel. The next day, Golden Shugwang Entertainment Group Zhu Ke met with Zhang Wei, his personal lawyer, in the office, and commissioned him to find someone. Your task is to entrust a relevant service company to help me find Nicholas Zenstrom and Janice Fries. One of them is Swedish and the other is Danish. In Europe, a small area has a high probability of being in Luxembourg, Zhu Ke said slowly while recording. Zhang Wei asked, is it the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, known as the country of 1,000 castles? Yes, Zhu nodded and said, it is the one surrounded by France, Germany and Belgium. Because of its small size, a population of more than 600,000, and a large number of ancient castles, it is also called a pocket kingdom and a country of thousands of castles. It is also the only surviving Grand Duchy on the European continent today. After a pause, Zhu Ke asked again, how long will it take to get it done? Up to 5 days, Zhang Wei said to himself. Up, so fast? Zhu Ke couldn't help being curious. Zhang Wei smiled and said, boss, if they are really in Luxembourg, then within 2 days. I can tell you the result. 5 days are calculated based on a wide range of Europe. Pretty. Zhu Ke couldn't help clapping his hands for Nicholas Zenstrom and Janice Fries. Zhuke is determined to win. To win the two of them means that Kazaa, network disk, Skype, internet phone, and music have been locked in advance. Nicholas and Janice are undoubtedly the top talents in the European internet field. Not only that, in 2018, the two co-founded Starship Technology Company. Once Starship Technology was founded, it was one of the largest autonomous delivery service systems in the world, which used an army of robots to perform a large number of delivery tasks. Top talent means great wealth. Student Zhu Ke, a person who can't afford to be early, would miss it. In the following time, Zhu Ke entrusted Zhang Wei with another matter. Moreover, this incident is the main purpose of today's appointment with Zhang Wei. What, boss? Are you sure you are not joking with me? My goodness, you want to sell the shares of Yahoo, Microsoft, and Cisco. If this news goes out, it will definitely cause a sensation. Now who doesn't know, buying internet stocks is the best choice to get rich quickly, and you chose to sell it. It's incredible. Zhang Wei is surprised. Do not. To be precise, after changing anyone, at this moment, he heard Zhu Ke's remarks about taking stocks of 3 companies, Yahoo, Microsoft, and Cisco, and he would be extremely surprised. As of June 1999, Microsoft market value, more than $600 billion. Cisco market value, more than $530 billion. Yahoo's market value, more than $43 billion. These 3 companies are currently on Nasdaq. Which one is not a popular stock that is sought after by the public? Many people want to buy stocks but don't get them, but Zhuke wants to sell them. Isn't Zhang Wei surprised? Boss, are you sure? Zhang Wei asked in a heavy tone. Zhuke nodded. I'm sure, and my personal financial advisor, Anna Josephine, will work with you on this project. Zhang Wei took a deep breath and said solemnly, boss, 2% of Yahoo stocks are worth more than $800 million. 0.01% of Microsoft stocks are worth more than $60 million. 0.015% are worth nearly $80 million. and the total value of the 3 stocks is $9.4 million. Are you selling part of it or emptying it all empty? Zhu Ke Wald said. Zhang Wei couldn't help but sucked in another breath. Boss, since you have issued a commission, I will definitely handle the matter properly with Miss Josephine, but I have to ask, do you have a cash flow now? Zhang Wei blurted out. Lack, for sure. Zhu Ke spread his hands and said, some time ago, I had a chat with a local Seattle government. I plan to build a 900-acre, about 5,400 acres, science and technology park there. The investment in the first 3 years is as high as $1.5 billion. The follow-up investment amount will not be less than $2 billion, and the total project investment is estimated to be nearly $4 billion. Do you think I am short of money? $4 billion? Zhang Wei blurted out immediately. The boss, your capital is still not enough. You will not sell the stocks of Amazon, Apple, HP, Dell and other companies in the future, right? That's right. Zhu clapped his hands at this moment. Rao, the elite barrister Zhang Wei, was also confused, but elite talents deserve to be elite talents. After just a short period of thinking, he has many ideas. Zhang Wei said in a deep voice. Boss, your share of this batch of shares is not just a plan for a new science and technology park. As far as I know, Bloomberg has continuously written several internet bubble predictions throughout the month of May. I think the Nasdaq stock market is overheating, far exceeding its actual value. Zhu did not deny, but nodded in agreement. In fact, before the internet bubble crisis broke out in 2000, many economists in the United States analyzed and pointed out that the stock market bubble is coming. Many people agree with this argument, but who would let the opportunity to make money not? The stock market is skyrocketing day by day, and its profit in just a few months is more than the wealth of many people who have struggled for half a lifetime. It is so easy to make money, why bother to work? Cabo is touching. Greed swallows everyone. Moreover, even those experts who insist on the view that the internet bubble is coming also believe that the crisis will erupt in 2002-2003. Unexpectedly, it will be in 2000, a few years in advance. If Zhu Ke is not a traverser, knowing the terrible internet bubble, he can't bear to buy internet stocks. Think of Yahoo. Before the crisis broke out, its market value was as high as $45 billion. Just a few months later, the market value was only several billion US dollars. The prestigious Amazon company, with a stock price of more than 60 yuan per share, fell to less than $2. Microsoft, the overlord of the system software industry, almost became more than a dozen companies. Sell, resolutely want to sell. It's a big deal to wait for a while. I will buy back the shares at a super low price. Student Zhu Ke is more than a chicken thief. How can he suffer? Lawyer Zhang, you and Anna will deal with the 3 stocks of Microsoft, Yahoo, and Cisco first. I will arrange the other stocks after a while, Zhu Ke ordered. Okay, Zhang Wei answered. Dealing with the stocks in your hands cannot be done overnight. Rushing to sell stocks on a large scale will only damage Zhu Ke's interests. During this exchange, Zhu Ke once again germinated the idea of acquiring Marvel. A Blade Warrior film by Xian Pictures brought Marvel Comics back to public view, and the stock price rose a lot. Then when Wald Pictures' Spider-Man movie and Fox Pictures' X-Men movie are released, Marvel's stock price is bound to soar. At that time, thinking about acquiring Marvel at a low price was completely idiotic. Moreover, Marvel's Saul Pommet and Aviram www.uxiaspit.com are extremely stubborn. They are the kind of people who would rather pull Marvel into than sell, unless they are in crisis of life and death. The old stubbornness of the shares. Zhang Wei, you said Marvel Saul Pommet and Avi Arad. Do you want the shares of Yahoo and Cisco? Zhu Ke asked. No one will reject the shares of Yahoo and Cisco. Zhang Wei smiled. Zhu Ke asked again. Then are they willing to exchange shares in Marvel? Zhang Wei was silent for a few seconds. It's hard to say that the two of them are extremely stubborn elements, but I can give it a try, Zhang Wei said solemnly. Zhu nodded. The victory of Marvel is of great significance to Zhu's media empire and entertainment kingdom. Although the Marvel superhero movie has no connotation, it is a pure popcorn movie, but who makes it profitable? The second update is sent. Chapter 286, $170 million in cash. The next day Nasdaq exchange. At this moment, the exchange is crowded with people, all looking forward to grabbing a bite of delicious fat under the big wave of the internet. The big 3 of Summit Entertainment, Patrick Wattsburg, Bob Hayward and David Garrett are also here. Patrick, how can we make a fortune if we don't buy more shares in internet companies? If we don't make a fortune quickly, Where do we have the funds to develop the company and develop Summit Entertainment into a big company alongside the Big Six? Bob Hayward hesitated. Will the risk be too great? After all, the stock market is risky? Haha. David Garrett snorted. Bob, you are too cautious. Think about our Pinnacle Entertainment Company. We have been founded for almost 6 years and haven't made much money, but the stock market can make money. You are wrong, Bob Hayward immediately retorted. In March we released the Two Smoke Guns movie directed by Guy Ritchie and starring Jason Statham. Since it was released for several months, it has won thousands of. Is it a $10,000 box office result? How can you say that you don't make money? The voice fell. Patrick and David both laughed. Man, do you know how much money Patrick has made in the stock market recently? David said suddenly. How much can there be? Bob Hayward is somewhat disdainful in his doubts. Compared to Patrick and David, he is more like a pure filmmaker. His focus is always on the film. $7 million, David whispered. In just 4 months, Patrick made $7 million on the Nasdaq stock market, which is much faster than the money coming from movies. Damn it. At this moment, Bob Hayward, who didn't know much about the stock market, was also taken aback. So amazing, Bob exclaimed. David immediately laughed and said, I know it's amazing. So I said that the stock market is faster than the movie. You should support Patrick and my proposal to mortgage Pinnacle Entertainment, so that we have a lot of capital and make a big profit in the stock market. Pen, isn't it wonderful? Patrick nodded and smiled. Bob, I will take you to make a fortune this time. Don't let me down, Bob Hayward. Today's appearance is completely a forced action by Patrick and David. Patrick Wattsburg, Bob Hayward, and David Garrett are the owners of Summit Entertainment. Patrick holds the majority of shares and is a major shareholder. Both he and David can mortgage their shares to invest in the stock market, but they had to consider the influence of Bob. One of the big 3 film bosses do not make good films, but instead mortgage the company and invest in the stock market. This will have a great impact on the hearts of the people in the company. This is what they have to consider. Therefore, Patrick and David plan to tie Bob into their stock market plans. David urged, Bob, don't miss this opportunity. Patrick also said, I have prepared the equity mortgage contract, and Citibank has also promised that as soon as you, me, and David sign the contract will take effect immediately, and the $50 million of funds will be entered within 10 minutes. Our account. When it comes to this, Bob is a little tangled, and even more excited. It's true that he is a pure filmmaker, but who doesn't like money? It's done. Bob immediately signed the contract. David and Patrick also laughed. Really, in less than 10 minutes, $50 million of funds were credited to Summit's account. A big deal can be expected, Patrick said in a loud voice. We will definitely make a fortune with this, and then invest a lot of money into Pinnacle Company, and quickly grow into an existence that can stand side by side with the Big Six. I have to say that Patrick and the 3 are ambitious. They founded Pinnacle Entertainment. From the beginning, they positioned this new company as a top Hollywood player who could be on an equal footing with major studios, rather than a small production company. However, in the first 10 years or so, this positioning was more like a joke. Like other major Hollywood studio challengers, Summit Entertainment is trapped by insufficient financial resources. They cannot attract Hollywood's top directors and stars. Their box office results are among the large, medium and small distributors, and they are only the deputy squad leader. Countdown. First, location. Of course, it emerged later. The Hurt Locker, Twilight, Dancing Out of My Life, Now You See Me, The Divergent, Red Flame, Battlefield, Source Code, Demonstration, Eye of Power. Goo is a familiar Hollywood movie, but Summit Entertainment in 1999 was just a younger brother. What? Look, someone is selling a lot of HP stock. Dell stock has also been sold. Oracle stock, too. Suddenly, many people in the entire Nasdaq exchange went crazy. When others sell stocks, they naturally eat up wildly. David, let the trader grab these stocks for me, as fast as you can, as much as you can. Patrick was overjoyed. Immediately, David made a phone call and immediately made the trader act quickly. Bob wondered, is the 3 stocks of HP, Dell, and Oracle so popular? Patrick laughed on the spot and said, Bob, you don't know the situation if you don't want to trade in stocks. Let me tell you this. If we can win the stocks of these 3 companies worth $10 million, according to the current market conditions, according to my operating plan, then 3 months later, we will be able to make a profit of at least $2 million. So much? Bob exclaimed. That's all. Of course, it must be operated by me. Most people can't make so much money. Patrick patted Bob proudly on the shoulder. Simply buying shares will naturally not make so much money, but don't forget that there are many operations for speculating on the stock market. This is the difference between professionals and ordinary speculators. Burbank Villas Hughes Home www.wooksyaspit.com. The small shares of 6 companies, including HP, Dell, Oracle, IBM, etc., were all sold off today, with a total of $172 million in cash. Reported by Anna Josephine, a private financial advisor. Pretty, Zhu Ke smiled and said, "I dumped this small amount of shares. In today's Nasdaq market, it shouldn't be noticed." Anna nodded. "It's true. If you sell 2% of Yahoo stock and 8% of Amazon stock, it will definitely cause a sensation. Small stocks only need to be traded in tradable stocks, and large stocks must not be the case. Otherwise Zhu Ke's interests will be inevitably damaged." Zhu Ke was naturally in a good mood with the $172 million in cash in the account. Again, you must know that Zhu Ke only spent less than $30 million to buy these shares. Who would be unhappy to make such a large amount of money, continue to raise funds? "I will make a fortune in the internet bubble crisis." A few months later, Zhu Ke thought to himself. Chapter 287, The First Overseas Technology Company. Zhu Ke is not very eager to sell shares in internet companies under the internet wave. There is no need to worry that these shares will not be sold. Small shares of 6 companies including HP, Dell, Oracle, and IBM have cashed out $172 million. It is just the beginning. The next stage, of course, is to sell the shares of Yahoo, Microsoft, and Cisco. At present, these stocks are valued at $940 million in the market. But those sharks who have heard the wind want to get these shares from Zhu Ke. Their bids must be $940 million higher. $1 billion, $1.1 billion. Do not. Zhu Ke clearly told those buyers that there is no $1.2 billion, so there is no need to open your mouth. The lion speaks loudly. That's right. Zhu Ke made it clear that he wanted to make a fortune, but those buyers were desperately eager to acquire these shares. After all, the market is optimistic about the stocks of Yahoo, Microsoft, and Cisco. This is a seller's market. In the next stage, Zhu Ke intends to short a batch of Amazon Mall stocks, but he holds more than 5% of the shares and must report to the China Securities Regulatory Commission, which takes time. Well, there are also $200 million worth of stocks held in AOL. Zhu Ke is waiting for the news of AOL's acquisition of Time Warner Group. This kind of merger involving more than $180 billion, which can be called the largest merger in history, will be inevitable for the stocks of the 2 companies to rise. Grams naturally have a share of the pie. Not surprisingly, in a few months, Zhu Ke will hold $4-6 billion in cash. If you add in the cash and gold reserves in Zhu Ke's original personal account, then the total amount of cash is definitely an astronomical figure. On this day, Zhu Ke is working at the headquarters of Jinshiguang Entertainment Group and has handled a number of tasks. 1. The animated film, Finding Nemo, produced by Water World Animation, is officially scheduled to be released in the United States on August 6, 1999 after 3 rounds of fan test sessions and 2 rounds of theater screenings. In the contract signed with a party of the House of Representatives, 2,780 cinemas were initially drafted, with a maximum of 3,100 cinemas. The schedule is not bad. This year's July schedule is also called a death schedule. Paramount's Bride of the Fall, Warner's Hurricane Men, Universal's American Pie, Disney's G-Type Police, DreamWorks' Ghost Invasion, and the rest of Deep Sea Shark, Open Eyes. Neither is it easy. Well, although there are several rivals in the August schedule, the pressure is obviously less than that in July. 2. Golden Dawn Music Company plans to release several albums composed of Eminem, Beyoncé, Britney Spears, and Linkin Park in the second half of this year. Among them, Britney Spears and Linkin Park are the most anticipated because it will be the first solo album of Britney Spears and the first heavy metal rock record album after Linkin Park joined Golden Dawn Music. Look at this list. This is the rhythm to lie down and win. Eminem, Beyoncé, Britney Spears, and Linkin Park can make a lot of money for the company if they have one, but I now have 4. At this moment, Zhu Ke's office door was knocked. "Hey, Kevin, did you come here in person?" Zhu Ke was overjoyed, but also a little curious. He didn't understand why Kevin Fitch, the vice president of Wald Pictures, came here in person. That's right, it is Kevin Fitch. "Come on, sit down first." Zhu Ke called Kevin to sit down and arranged for the secretary to pour 2 cups of coffee. "Boss, I'm here this time. For the Blair the Witch movie, Kevin said, "Oh." Zhu Ke raised his mouth. Of course Zhu knew about the Blair the Witch movie. It is also a TV film that Zhu participated in the St. Denis Film Festival and he personally bought it at a cost of $130,000. Kevin Fitch said, "The viral publicity plan for Blair the Witch has been launched, and the lead actors and directors have also been arranged properly. Even if those ticket-buying audiences find out after the fact that they are cheated, it will not affect our Wald pictures." Zhu nodded, "Yes, that's it. After all, viral propaganda is fraudulent propaganda that walks on the edge of the law, so we have to be cautious. Don't directors and leading actors want to be famous? Give them. All we want is to make money." In the original time and space, Blair the Witch created a box office miracle. It is a film with a shooting cost of only $60,000. It is the originator of the so-called pseudo-documentary. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is a trash, 3-0 movie, but after it was released in 1999, it created a North American box office of $140 million and a global box office of $248 million. The profit ratio is extremely amazing. It can be said to be a myth, of course. It is undeniable that its success is not the success of the film itself, but the success of a complete fraud and scam marketing. The shooting cost of $60,000, but the publicity cost is close to $20 million. The genius director Daniel, the genius director Ediato, the originator of pseudo-documentary, we give them all these reputations. And then the anger of the audience will be placed on them, and it has nothing to do with our production and distribution companies' name. They got it. Money, we make it. Is it very harmonious? Zhu smiled. Fraud and scam style propaganda. It is always the case that when they show their feet, they do not give up these reputations. Then the audience's anger after being deceived will be borne by Zhu. Zhu Ke is so much a thief. Kevin Fitch understood it and said with a smile, "Boss, I know. We are the publisher of Blair the Witch. We don't know the rest, and it's not our business." "That's right." Zhu clapped his hands. "Capital is always dirty." Not long attorney Zhang Wei Zhang from the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg in Europe also has good news. The future founders of the 4 companies Kazaa, Network Disk, Skype, Internet Phone, Music, and Starship Technology, Nicholas Zenstrom and Janice Fries, accepted Zucker's invited and agreed to work for Zhu Ke, but they have a requirement. "We don't want to go to America, we only want to work in Europe." Facing this request www.wuxiaspit.com Zhu Ke generously agreed. Zhu Ke is extremely tolerant of top talents. Zhang Wei, "You tell them that I will invest $2 million to form the first overseas company under my name in Luxembourg, and let them both be in charge of the company." Zhu Ke said by phone, "Boss, Nicholas and Janice don't have management experience, so you can rest assured that you give them power." Zhang Wei was surprised. "Haha." Zhu Ke smiled and said, "It's only $2 million. If you lose, you lose. I want them 2 talents, shortly." After the first overseas technology company under Zhu Ke's name was established named Starship Technology, the second update of is sent for support. Chapter 288, Blair the Witch released. Soon after Starship Technology was established, Zhang Wei and Anna Josephine met Zhu Ke together again. A further report was made to Zhu Ke on the 3 stocks of Microsoft, Yahoo and Cisco held by Zhu Ke. "Leave aside other things, I just want to know that Marvel Sol Pommet and Aviaroid are not interested in these shares." Zhu interrupted with a wave of his hand for Marvel's shares in controlling rights. "Zhu Ke is bound to win." Zhang Wei and Anna looked at each other and smiled bitterly. "Boss, it's very difficult." Zhang Wei spoke first. "What about it?" Zhu Ke said solemnly. Zhang Wei pondered for a few seconds and said, "Boss, you should remember Ronald Perlman, right?" Of course Zhu knew him, a very cunning guy, and very good at hype. Zhu Ke disdainfully said Ronald Perlman, the former chairman of Marvel. A master of capital speculation in early 1989, he spent $82.5 million to acquire Marvel and became the largest shareholder. Subsequently, he used cunning marketing methods to declare that Marvel comic books have collection value, prompting many fans to buy a large number of comic books, and in just 2 years, he listed Marvel and successfully completed the money-making behavior in the stock market. However, a lie is a lie. After all sudden change in the market, the value of comic collections dropped rapidly, and the comic collection bubble burst. The entire comic industry has ushered in a cold winter. Marvel was the first to bear the brunt, with its stock price plummeting and on the verge of bankruptcy several times. However, Ronald Perlman, the chairman of Marvel, took the opportunity to empty Marvel's heritage and started a crazy sale. In just a few years, He relied on Marvel to make at least $500 million US. In the original words of Marvel's former shareholder icon, Perlman is like a plumber helping you fix your water pipes. He not only completely ruins your house, but also wants to take your house away without paying a penny. Boss, a capitalist like Perlman, was driven out of Marvel by Saul Palmet and Avi Arad, and even the former second shareholder icon also stepped down. There are too many things involved in this. Zhang Wei smiled bitterly. Zhu Ke suddenly realized. Anna added, Boss, you are planning to complete the acquisition of Marvel before the release of Spider-Man and Fox's X-Men, waiting for the release of Spider-Man. Hearing this, Zhu suddenly laughed. It's true that Zhu is smart, but Saul Palmet and Avi Arad are not fools either. On the contrary, they are extremely smart, otherwise, they would not be able to drive Perlman out of Marvel. In fact, Saul Palmet and Avi Arad had a discussion when they learned that Zhu wanted to acquire Marvel. Can't sell, even if Marvel is going to sell it eventually, it can't be sold now. We have to wait until Spider-Man and X-Men are released. As long as they can achieve good results in high box office like Blade Warriors, then our Marvel stock price will inevitably soar. It's in our hands. At that time, even if you sell Marvel, you will definitely be able to sell a high price, far exceeding the current price. After the discussion, Saul Palmet and Avi Arad set the tone. What can Zhu do? There are no good people in Hollywood. Everyone is a cunning fox, and they are all good at singing Liao Zhai. Boom boom boom. Zhu was meditating, tapping the table with his fingers repeatedly. Zhang Wei, Anna. I decided to temporarily abandon Marvel's acquisition plan. Zhu Ke decided. Yes, boss. Is Zhu Ke really willing to give up Marvel? How can it be? Since normal commercial means cannot achieve the purpose of the acquisition, then I don't mind using capital means to complete it. Zhu Ke thought to himself. That's right. Zhu still has some confidence in the acquisition of Marvel. Marvel owes a lot of debt to the bank. As long as Zhu fixes the bank, breaks Marvel's capital chain, and obtains the equity and copyright of Marvel's mortgage from the bank, he can forcibly complete the acquisition. Of course, this will take time. It can't be done overnight. Time passed slowly in a blink of an eye. It was already early July during this time. Zhu Ke had a lot of free time. Victor and others were responsible for the specific work of the company, while Zhu Ke himself wandered around, wandering through the 4 crews of Spider-Man, Harry Potter, Reaper is Coming, and Butterfly Effect. I had a detailed chat with the directors, producers and leading actors of the crew. Even so leisurely, Zhu still feels exhausted. Too Nima tired. The company under my name is only so small and has a large number of assistants. It is so exhausting. I can't believe how hard the bosses of those giant companies are. They wake up earlier than chickens, sleep later than dogs, do more than cows, and eat less than rats. Not only do they work all year round, work abnormally, and they may die suddenly. Diligent entrepreneurs and capitalists are not easy to do. Zhu Ke doesn't want to be such a person. Nima is too tired. I'm actually like a salted fish, have the greatest power, sleep the most beautiful girl, eat the best food, drink the strongest wine, live in the most luxurious house, listen to the most moving music, enjoy the most beautiful scenery. The life of a fairy is desirable, but it has a major premise, that is, it must have enough capital and confidence for Zhu to squander. Therefore, Zhu Ke's career must continue to move upward at present. Go ahead. Moving forward, Tuesday, July 6, 1999, Sunny. The low-key TV film Blair the Witch, which has been low-key for a long time and has a production cost of only $60,000, was released low-key in 29 theaters across the United States. I heard that this is the true story of a witch killing people. I saw it from the internet. It is said that how many people are missing, but they don't know whether they are true or not. It must be true. It is said that the local people in the small town of Buttsville all know about this, and even the local police station has a lot of records. Does witches really exist? What age is this? Do you still believe this? What is the use of scientific knowledge, George? I would rather believe it if it is not trusted or not. When Zhu bought the film copyright of Blair the Witch, he also bought the relevant propaganda website of Blair Witch from the director, which published many news about witch in the United States since ancient times, as well as many cases of missing persons. Although Wald Pictures did not invest much manpower and financial resources before the movie was released, some netizens still knew the news that the Blair the Witch, a top-secret archive and real video, was shown in theaters. They are naturally interested, so www.wooksiaspit.com on the day of the release of Blair the Witch. Many people saw this top-secret archive in 29 theaters. However, the attendance rate is not high at the box office that day. It was only $24,000. After learning the news, The executives of art as an entertainment couldn't help but sneered. I thought Wald Pictures could do it, but that's all. At the same time, Harvey Weinstein of Miramax also laughed. No wonder they dare not release it on a large scale. It turns out that the movie is too rubbish, and it is impossible for Zhu Ke Wald to be lucky forever. Barry Meyer, the vice president of Warner Brothers Pictures, frowned and said, "It shouldn't be. As far as I know about Zhu Ke Wald, he wouldn't do such an unwise thing. Is there anything else in it? Something? Is it possible that the Blair the Witch, which is a headache, can be a big hit?" The first update is sent. Chapter 289, it in number 039, S30. I have to say that there are many smart people in Hollywood. Barry Meyer of Warner Brothers Pictures deeply felt that there was something wrong with the Blair the Witch. It's weird. Barry Meyer is a wise man and a determined actionist. When I noticed something was wrong, I immediately set off for the theater where I could watch Blair the Witch the next day. At this moment, there is a theater named Hazen under the umbrella of one of the three major theaters, Zimank, and there is a theater that will show the film Blair the Witch. Mr. Meyer, this is your Coke. A big cup. Secretary Miss Daisy also sat down, preparing to watch the movie. Thank you. In Hollywood, Barry Meyer likes to drink a glass of Coke while watching a movie, which is a well-known thing. Miss Daisy glanced around and frowned. There are not many people watching Blair the Witch. There were only 17 people in this show. So, this is a low-quality movie with no star actors, no well-known directors, and no special effects. Isn't it great? As for the so-called real case, top secret file and other words in the film, Miss Daisy, as an insider, does not believe that it is a single word. Don't jump to conclusions, Daisy, Barry Meyer solemnly said. Although the mainstream media now judges Zhu Ke Wald as a lucky guy, we at Warner have played no less than 2 times with him, and we have not. If you take advantage of it, you should know that he is not simply a person who can be defined by lucky. On the contrary, he's extremely cunning. Oh, Miss Daisy nodded blankly. After a while, the movie began to play. At the beginning of the film, there was no such thing as a list of so-called actors and producers as in previous movies. This has caught the attention of Barry Meyer. He frowned. Miss Daisy was very happy at the time and smiled. Mr. Meyer, look, Wald Pictures really intends to turn this TV movie into a so-called real case. Okay, Barry Meyer nodded and said, don't you think this kind of publicity works well? We are insiders who will not be deceived, but most movie audiences will believe that this is a real case. That's right, he guessed it right. That's what Wald Pictures planned. Don't ask to fool everyone. As long as you can fool some people, that's enough. Is it a joke that the three become tigers? The film begins. Josh, Mike, Heather, 2 men and 1 woman, all students of the film school. The 3 of them brought handheld DV video equipment to the small town of Buttsville, Maryland, to investigate local legends about witches. Ready to make it into a documentary? In order to find the trail of the witch, they went deep into the woods, but, who knows, they just disappeared. 1 year later, their backpack was discovered. The audio tape, high 8 camera, and 16mm camera inside clearly recorded the 3 people's last journey. The movie voice-over, resounding in the theater. The extremely plain tone was like asking good morning and good afternoon, but with a propaganda tone of real cases and top secret files in front. Everyone in the theater suddenly felt their hair horrified and their scalp numb. Not long after, the 3 main actors, Josh, Mike and Heather, appeared on the theater screen. At the beginning, the 3 interviewed the local people in the small town of Buttsville and asked them about the legend of the witch. The local residents, extras, immediately told stories they knew, either in horror or shock. Afterwards, they went deep into the woods. But the map in their hands was gone. They are trapped in the woods. One of his companions, Josh, suddenly disappeared strangely. Heather found fragments of Josh's clothes, as well as human teeth and hair. Help, 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 help. The heroine Heather crashed to the extreme, facing the DV camera. The tears in her eyes filled her face, clearly showing in front of all movie audiences. 2 men, Josh and Mike, also collapsed one after another. We're done. Witch. There are really witches. We are dead. We can't escape. Different from the previous Hollywood movies, Blair the Witch, which is known as the originator of the pseudo-documentary, is filmed by a DV camera throughout the entire process. The jittery images will make you immersive even if the shaking lens picture dazzled you more than once and got a headache, but screamed in terror again and again. It reminded you repeatedly that it is not a movie, it is a real missing case. Is this real? The top secret files of the police station. It turns out that there are really witches who are harming people. Movie audiences can hardly conceal their excitement and fear. Of course, In the original time and space, in the picture of Blair the Witch, there is an extremely conspicuous shot through. When the three of us lost in the woods, we could see the road through the gaps and the trees, such an obvious piercing lens. Now that Zhu takes over, naturally does not allow it to continue to exist. Mr. Meyer, what the is going on? After watching the movie, Miss Daisy looked at her boss in confusion. What is going on? Barry Meyer's face showed a trace of clarity. Miss Daisy took a deep breath and said, I firmly believe that the witch is false, and this movie is not a real case or a top secret file, but after watching the movie, I felt it's not like a movie, it's like a real disappearance. She was lost, she was full of doubts. Barry Meyer smiled and said, you are wrong. Huh? Miss Daisy was even more puzzled. Daisy, I can tell you responsibly now that Blair the Witch is just a movie. Well, it is a man-made movie. As for what disappears, I use decades of Hollywood experience to tell you that it is a propaganda to win the box office. Barry Meyer whispered, you don't understand it now, it doesn't matter. You look down, I guess it won't be long before the internet will be full of news about Blair the Witch. In words, Barry Meyer is calm, but in fact, his heart is as turbulent as the sea at the moment. He is an extremely smart person. Through a little data and analysis, he roughly inferred Zhu Ke's routine. This guy is really dirty. Of course, Zhu is not afraid that Barry Meyer knows his propaganda routine. Time Warner Group is currently discussing the merger with AOL. At this critical moment, they don't want to make troubles or make waves. As for small film companies, you reading www.uucan'tchoo.com's Zhu is not afraid. In the face of the Big Six in Hollywood, Wald Pictures is incomparable, but in the face of other film companies, you see, who dare to take the initiative to stab and bark their teeth? Humph, you can't beat you. On the second day of the movie's release, 29 theaters had a cumulative box office of $29,000. Well, it was a full $5,000 higher than the $24,000 on the first day. On the third day, the single-day box office reached $33,000. On the fourth day, the single-day box office was as high as $49,000. The increase in the box office is extremely obvious. Zhu Ke immediately issued instructions. The $19 million propaganda fund can start the first batch of funds. The second update is sent. Chapter 290, The routine is getting dirty. With Zhu's order, Wald Pictures immediately took action. Wald Pictures President Bill Mitnick and Vice President Kevin Fitch are jointly responsible for this matter. Everything goes according to the predetermined plan. The announcement of the movie Blair the Witch is also an unusual Hollywood movie. Generally speaking, the publicity work of a movie is bound to be publicized on a large scale before the movie is released, but Blair the Witch is different. It is first released on a small scale, and then publicized secondly. The main propaganda positions are very different. Television platforms, high school and university journals, mainstream social media, newspapers, these traditional propaganda channels have all been abandoned. On the contrary, young people's favorite magazines, popular weekly magazines, and posting missing notices in many places across the United States, as well as online forums, these emergent channels have become the main positions for the announcement of Blair the Witch. Offline missing persons postings, I will see results tonight. Major cities such as Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, Salt Lake City, New York, Atlanta, Washington, etc. must post our missing persons notices. Old Bill shouted, Mr. President, will the police tear up our missing persons notice? An executive suddenly said, they dare. Old Bill roared, although our movie is fake, the cases of missing persons are not fake. You can ask them to tear up one to see. Our legal department is not the one who eats food. You can't kill them. Yes, Mr. President, the executive immediately agreed. Immediately, Old Bill ordered the hired naval forces to stir up trouble on major internet forums. Missing persons, legend of the witch. The high probability of missing persons is a witch murder incident. Blair the Witch is a real case in a top-secret file of the police station. Previously, there were only a few sporadic reports on the internet, but once capital hype, a huge wave was immediately set off, and various words about witches appeared on major forums. This is the power of capital. As long as it is speech, it can be overridden. The next day, Saturday, July 10th, this is the fifth day of the movie Blair the Witch. The number of its theaters rose from 29 initially to 97 theaters. A viral and fraudulent marketing film like Blair the Witch must not be released on a large scale at the beginning. If the word of mouth is absolutely destroyed, it can only be made step by step. The power of the water army and the power of capital can control the speech. In order to maximize the benefits as expected, On this day of July 10th, the attendance rate of Blair the Witch soared, nearly reaching 80%, and the attendance rate of the prime time was as high as 90%. On the same day, the movie box office received another $350,000. On July 11th, a single-day box office reached a new high, reaching $430,000. Up to this moment, Blair the Witch has become a topic of discussion among many people. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It stands to reason that we are college students receiving higher education and should firmly believe in science. However, many people in our school have seen Blair the Witch and they insist that it is true, an Afro young man said excitedly. Obviously, he is very interested in the topic of witches. The other roommates in the dormitory couldn't help but wonder. The thin young man with the glasses said, "I saw several missing persons notices in the WQ fashion magazine today. It shouldn't be fake," the boy with dirty braids said. "I just saw reports about witches in Yahoo forums and Microsoft forums." Well, there are a lot of people involved in the discussion. As for whether it is true or not, I don't know. The tall young man in a basketball uniform laughed and said, "What about it? Shall we go to the cinema tomorrow?" I heard Avril Lavigne said, "Blair the Witch is very scary," and a little sister in her dormitory was scared on the spot. Cried, scared to cry, real or fake. There were still a few roommates who were not interested. When they heard someone crying, they all felt interesting on the spot. No way, death is a tradition of old beauty. At the same time, the most scary top secret file. Blair the Witch. This topic has become a hot topic of discussion on the Microsoft forum and Yahoo forum, with 300,000 and 350,000 comments respectively. The heat is evident. The operation of Navy Plus tap water made Blair the Witch even more popular. The next day there are so many interested people who can't buy movie tickets. Asshole, what do you eat in the cinema? You know that Blair the Witch is very popular, so I didn't increase the schedule. If you have money, you can't make money. Will you do business? Tickets. I want movie tickets. Damn, there are only 97 theaters in the United States. The spectators who did not buy the tickets immediately scolded. Compared with the larger movie audiences of the Celestial Dynasty, the old American movie audiences are much rude. If they don't go well, they might break a movie theater. No way. They have this tradition. The person in charge of the major cinemas was speechless, and felt a little wronged in his heart. Don't they want to expand the screening? No, they think, very much. However, Wald Pictures told the theaters that they would not expand the screenings for the time being. For the first time in the history of Hollywood, the use of the internet to launch viral and fraudulent propaganda has been surprisingly effective. Many people have heard of such a magical top secret file. Blair the Witch. Is there a different voice? Of course there is. In the few days since the movie was released, many movie audiences felt that their IQ had been insulted and felt cheated. Be cheated. This is not a top secret file at all. The witch has never appeared from beginning to end. Are you sure this is not a lie? I said responsibly, I was cheated. There are many such voices. However, due to the small scale of the show, there are too many people who have not seen the film, so the voice claiming to be deceived can't make waves at all at this stage. The strength of the Navy is enough to suppress all the voices of opposition. The step-by-step spending of propaganda funds has greatly hyped the popularity of Blair the Witch. Warner Brothers Pictures. Dirty. It's dirty. The routine of Wald Pictures www.wooksiaspit.com is really one set after another. Their so-called top secret files, real cases, and missing persons notices are just to deceive movie audiences, especially the movie is currently being shown on a small scale, and when there are voices of opposition, they can be quickly suppressed. Barry Meyer, the vice president of Warner Pictures, jokingly said, "Look at it. It is estimated that it will not be long before Blair the Witch will be released on a large scale, tricking countless viewers into the movie theater and earning frantically at the box office," hissed the secretary. Daisy took a breath of air, and said in astonishment, "They are such a lie. Are you afraid of the audience who reacted? Tear them to pieces." Haha, Barry Meyer sneered. Wald Pictures is not afraid. By then, they only need to push the director and actors to the front desk, and everything will be clean. So I said, they are really dirty. The first update is sent. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291, $100 million at the North American box office. July 16th, after 10 days of small-scale screening, Blair the Witch and this day finally expanded the scale of screening again. 1900 cinemas, that's right, the scale of screenings has risen from the initial 29 theaters to 97, and now there are 1,900 theaters. It has to be said that Wald Pictures' current strength in North America is quite strong. In the original time and space, Artisan Entertainment devoted all of it, used all the energy, and gave a lot of benefits to the theaters, to obtain the screening scale of 1,100 theaters. However, Wald Pictures easily obtained it in the summer file 1900 cinemas. This is the gap in strength for large-scale film releases. Propaganda funds must naturally keep up. After the first batch of $5 million was dropped, Wald Pictures once again spent $14 million to promote the movie Blair the Witch, without a big investment. Where does the high box office come from? Bill Mitnick, president of Wald Pictures, as the former CEO of Fox Pictures, naturally understands this, and he shouldn't be too skilled in the operation. Mystery, idiots. Remember, Blair the Witch is a 3-no movie with no star actors, no well-known directors, no special effects, and a production cost of only $60,000. We must keep the audience's sense of mystery about the movie. Otherwise, we will all be finished. Popular magazines, fashion weekly magazines, the internet, keep us hot, all move me. For a while, the entire Wald Pictures industry was caught up in a hectic and busy work. The expansion of Blair the Witch is naturally a blessing for movie audiences. But, I finally got the ticket. It is said that it is a real case, a top-secret file of the police station, and a DV video that scares people to death. I want to see how horrible it is. San Francisco, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, Seattle, major cities in the United States, and even small cities, have many movie theaters on this day. Tickets are bought to enter the theaters just to see the horror of Blair the Witch, but many people scolded their mothers on the spot after watching the movie. Shit, what the is this trash thing? Man, are you sure it's not April Fool's Day? I don't feel any horror in the whole DV video. Some are just shaking and dizzying shots. The picture quality is even rougher and the overall experience is not friendly at all. Many people feel deceived. Even many people have noticed, this is not a top secret file at all. Maybe the production company is playing tricks on everyone and deceiving consumers. There are still many smart people. However, after the expanded screening of Blair the Witch, the box office results on that day were spectacular. $27 million. That's right. The North American box office of the movie on that day was as high as $27 million, ranking first in the North American box office of that day. Movies released during the same period, whether it is Warner's $50 million production Hurricane Men or Universal Pictures' classic comedy American Pie, their box office is all below Blair the Witch. Other movies have become cannon fodder at this time. There is no doubt that Wald Pictures' targeted viral and fraudulent marketing has achieved unprecedented success. On July 17, the film received another $21 million. On July 18, another $17 million was credited. As of July 22, after Blair the Witch expanded its screening scale, it was broadcast on a large scale for a complete week, plus the previous harvest, and it had a cumulative North American box office of $110 million in an instant. The nation was in an uproar. Many Hollywood studios stomped their feet with anger. Despicable Wald Pictures, it's shameless. This way is really dirty. Barry Meyer of Warner saw the plans of Zucker and Wald Pictures, so other Hollywood studios really didn't notice it at all. Of course not. There are countless people in Hollywood. However, Zucker didn't worry at all, to put it bluntly. Although the major movie companies in Hollywood are more competitive, they are also a community of interests in this industry, production companies and distribution companies, with large amounts of resources and high amounts of money, are naturally at the top of the entire industry chain and are players in this capital game. The Big Six of Hollywood are the top high-end players. Dominates many groups of actors, agents, directors, lighting engineers, photographers, editors, special effects artists, etc. Together everyone relies on this business to eat. The better the image of Hollywood's Wei Guangzheng, the better the development will naturally be, and everyone will have money to make money. The unspoken rules of the industry insider, all the tacit agreement established by conventions, and even scandals. Do you dare to expose one and try, move the whole body? If you expose one, you are tackling hundreds of movie companies, big and small. In Hollywood the behavior of smashing the rice bowl is definitely tolerated. In all Hollywood in the 1990s, there were many actresses who exposed the red sofa and unspoken rules incidents, but did they make a big wave? No. Even in the 21st century, Harvey Weinstein and other top Hollywood producers were exposed, leading to their ouster. But look at the actors who participated in the exposure events. They will have a few more able to survive in Hollywood later. Of how many others are still growing up tacitly banned? The gamers of Hollywood's major film companies will never allow scandals to be exposed to the outside of the industry. Whoever dares to stab them is everyone's common enemy so far. No one dares to provoke this rule. If you are the head iron, then you are waiting to disappear from Hollywood, similar to the major film companies in the Great China. Which film company suffered a scandal? Look at the rest of the film companies. Which one was in trouble? In the film and television industry, everything is prosperous, and everything is lost. Up to now, there are not a few people who see through Zucker's plan like Barry Meyer, but none of them has spoken out or participated in the exposure. As for the creators of Blair the Witch, who will be pushed to the front of the stage in the future, they are a proper scapegoat. No one in Hollywood will sympathize with them, because everyone does it. Really, when the opposition voices on the internet were about to be suppressed by the Navy, Wald Pictures made another wave of routines. Genius director, genius planning. Blair the Witch is a movie with a production cost of only $60,000. The two directors of Blair the Witch, Daniel Merrick and Adidas Sanchez, were pushed to the front of the stage by Wald Pictures. Go, 2. Kevin Fitch took the two of them and appeared on the WB television network under the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group. Blair the Witch was planned by the two of you and you filmed it. You even collected information on witches and missing persons on the official website www.wooksyaspit.com. It was originally from your creativity. Now the film has won the North American experience. With the achievement of $100 million, you are a great contributor, and now it's time for you to enjoy. Cheers, flowers in honor. Kevin Fitch tempted two rookie directors with agitating remarks. The viral and fraudulent marketing of Blair the Witch can hardly be concealed, so a scapegoat must be introduced to bear the audience's upcoming anger. As soon as the TV program is broadcast, a round of publicity is added. G-tut. Wald Pictures got a clean pick. Well, innocent Wald, poor, no one will sympathize with you. Facing the gratitude of the two directors, Kevin Fitch immediately dismissed it. Very much. The second update is sent. Thank yous. Box 1 for a 500 reward. Chapter 292. Countless people were stunned. Hi, dear audience friends, good evening everyone. I am your old friend, Win Stanton. I Am a Celebrity talk show is one of the trump cards of UP TV station. After the acquisition and integration of WBTV Network, the program moved to WBTV Network as a whole. After all, it is a public TV network with many natural advantages. Win Stanton, a wise and humorous white fat man, one of the anchors of the Golden Dawn TV group Zhu Ke, also appeared on the stage of I'm a Celebrity program. Dear viewers in front of the TV, and on-site audience friends, compared to everyone in recent days, there are many people who have seen a DV video called Blair the Witch in the theater, Win Stanton said when the voice fell. Many people nodded immediately. No way. Who made Blair the Witch too hot recently? There are many high-grossing movies in Hollywood every year, but it is not any movie that can easily get a good score of over 100 million in North American box office. Everyone. Today we will reveal the Blair the Witch, a popular DV video in the United States. Win Stanton increased his tone. Secret. Suddenly, many people present showed interest. Of course, many people find it strange. Isn't I Am a Celebrity a talk show? How can it be changed into a secret show? A young woman asked in confusion. I also find it strange. A woman next to her responded. Win Stanton said loudly. Next, let us invite two gentlemen, Daniel Merrick and Adidas Sanchez, to make their debut. The hundreds of spectators at the scene, even though they were a little unclear, still welcomed them with applause. In the warm applause, 37-year-old Daniel Merrick and 31-year-old Adidas Sanchez came to the stage. The host Win Stanton shook hands with each other. The two were seated on the stage at Win Stanton's sign. Win Stanton looked at the audience and said, everyone is bound to be very confused. What are the origins of these two people? What are the reasons and qualifications to appear on the I Am a Celebrity program? Then I will tell you that they the two have an inseparable relationship with the DV video Blair the Witch. After a pause, he said, in other words, without Daniel and Adidas, there would be no DV video of Blair the Witch. While one stone stirs up 1,000 waves, as soon as the voice fell, many people on the scene suddenly made an uproar. Daniel, Adidas, they are the directors of the DV video Blair the Witch. Win Stanton is not surprising and endless. Suddenly, the entire audience focused their attention on Daniel and Adidas at the same time. Even Kevin Fitch, the backstage player of I Am a Celebrity, is staring at the stage closely at this moment. As long as they confess, then they are set as a scapegoat. Kevin Fitch thought to himself. Yes, Daniel Merrick said, the DV film Blair the Witch was officially completed by me and my good partner Ed Iardo. Ed Iardo also nodded heavily for a while. The whole scene fell into a strange state of silence. Blair the Witch, it turned out to be a movie, a film made by a person, not a top-secret file or real case many people are trapped in. Particular, some people spend money to watch Blair the Witch in the theater, and their mood at the moment is quite complicated, and even a little angry. In other words, am I being deceived? A blonde boy whispered, although many people were angry at the scene. The host Winstanton did a good job of controlling the scene and suppressed all the noisy sounds at the scene in the following time. Winstanton launched a series of questions on the issue of Blair the Witch. Directors Daniel and Ed Iardo vividly told the story behind the movie. It's not a real case, it's just a movie. Everything comes from the ideas of our genius. Don't you think this kind of planning is great? As we all know, a movie needs a lot of money, from script writing, to sales of the script, to the completion of the shooting, to the release. But look at Blair the Witch, its production cost is only $60,000. We don't have a huge budget, no celebrities, and no superb special effects. At the beginning of the DV revolution, we successfully told everyone how a movie without a high budget was made. In fact, Blair the Witch is by no means all deceit. Its success has indeed inspired many young directors later. As long as you have an idea, as long as you have a poor DV camera, you can make a movie. Everyone can be a director and shoot their favorite things. The term pseudo-documentary has also successfully appeared in front of everyone. The pseudo-documentary created by Blair the Witch succeeded in setting off a wave of turmoil all over the world. Films such as the Smart Death video series and the Ninth District were all affected by the film. Golden Shugwang Entertainment Group's Zhu finished watching the recording of I Am a Celebrity on the topic of Blair the Witch. Boss, the two directors of Daniel did a great job. Alexander laughed. Yes, Zhu nodded and said, you inform old Bill, let the Navy work harder, at least before the broadcast of I Am a Celebrity. The reputation of Blair the Witch on the internet should not collapse too soon. Yes, boss, Alexander responded. The idea of Zhu and others is very simple. Before the film's reputation does not collapse in a large area, maintain the popularity and earn more box office. If the word of mouth can't be suppressed, it's okay, immediately broadcast this issue of I Am a Celebrity program. When the audience's deceitful anger will be passed on to the director. Well, Wald Pictures is still the innocent Wald Pictures. Is Zhu Ke cruel? Don't deny. One thing successfully passed on the anger of the audience, covering his head and making money. The fraudulent and viral propaganda scheme undoubtedly overdrawn the character and credit of the two directors, and is an act of killing chickens and eggs. Look, is this a human thing? However, for both Daniel and Ed Iardo, it is not all disadvantages. They are good too. Be famous. Be famous. With a production cost of $60,000, the filming of Blair the Witch made hundreds of millions of dollars in North American box office revenue. Such a high profit ratio can be called appalling. For this alone, the two of them will also have a famous film history. And it is bound to become the object of many Hollywood companies vying to pursue. Hollywood pursues winners, asking only about the results, not about the process. In the marketing of Blair the Witch, Wald Pictures successfully shirked the black pot and made a profit, and the two Daniels, who were also sought after by Hollywood, successfully entered this Vanity Fair. Overall, this is a win-win option. Daniel too, are they really fools, really ignorant of the purpose of Wald Pictures? Do not. They are pretending to be confused, overdraft your reputation and credit in exchange for the chance to become famous overnight. Zhu Ke didn't treat them badly either. One person gave a big red envelope. And the three leading actors were also good. www.wooksyaspit.com successfully dumped the pot. Really, when the Blair the Witch incident was exposed, the entire United States was in an uproar. This turned out to be just a marketing. A movie viewer looked at the newspaper in his hand and exclaimed, my God! Can a movie with a box office of more than $100 million be made for $60,000? Countless people were stunned. However, there are also a considerable proportion of movie audiences, but they are so angry. Am I a big fool? I was deceived. A movie with a price of $60,000 can get a box office of more than $100 million through marketing. What does it have? The first update is sent. Chapter 293, Make a Fortune. $60,000, hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office. DV film, a trend zero vision. The genius directors Daniel and Ed Iardo became famous in one fell swoop, according to one report, under the propaganda of major American media, newspapers, news and television. and other media channels, a big wave was set off across the United States in just one day marketing success. Many people don't think so. They just feel that they are being played fiercely, but there are also many economists who think this is a successful marketing. Both sides hold the same word, of course. Most people hold an attitude of venting their anger. Top secret files of shit. Real cases like shit aside from the top secret files and the gimmick of the witch. What is left of Blair the Witch? I dare say, without this fraudulent marketing, this movie could have a box office of $200,000. Thank goodness. To tell you the truth, Blair the Witch is really so-so, even rubbish. In just half a day, public opinion reversed. The talented directors Daniel and Eduardo have become the target of everyone's beating. Even the three leading actors of the film have been affected a lot, and they have been criticized as shameful liars. Does Daniel care? Is Eduardo angry? No, on the contrary, they are secretly cheering. Daniel is 37 years old this year and Eduardo is 31 years old. The two are not worthless and destitute, but they are also a member of the ordinary group of people, and their life can only be described as decent. However, it is different now. They are famous, with a production cost of $60,000 to produce a film with a box office of more than $100 million. Besides us, who else in Hollywood can do it? No, not even one. Such a high profit ratio, only a Blair the Witch. At this moment, Daniel and Eduardo are very excited. The mood was agitated. Eduardo, look, I'm right. What is it to give up some reputation, and to be scolded by someone pointing the nose? What is it? As long as we can get tickets to enter Hollywood, get access to major Hollywood studios' favor, then everything is worth it. Daniel was excited to this end. He proposed on the spot to open a bottle of champagne to celebrate. You are right, Daniel, Eduardo sighed. Once upon a time, in the eyes of many people, we were just a pile of shit, an existence that everyone dislikes and can be ignored at will. But now, who dares to ignore our existence? Even now, we in the eyes of many people, it is still inaudible shit, but we are now wrapped in a layer of sugar paper. As long as it is not punctured, we are delicious candies. People who have dreams are not afraid of difficulties and sufferings, but are most afraid of being ignored by others. If others trample on you wantonly, that at least proves your existence, but once everyone ignores you, that is what Daniel and the group fear the most. Obviously, at this moment, they, in a sense, have achieved unprecedented success. Ding ding ding. At this moment, the phone in the hotel room rang. Daniel took the opportunity to answer the phone. Hello, who? Oh, you are a reporter for the Boston Post. Want to interview us? No problem, but there is a premise. I have to tell you. California Entertainment, Global Times, Washington Morning Post, and Social Youth Daily have made appointments with us first. You can only queue up now. I'm extremely sorry. No, it's not about money. What? $10,000 in compensation? Well, since you are so sincere, Eduardo and I have no reason to reject you. Well, in 3 days, we can reserve half an hour for you for an interview. After speaking, Daniel hung up with a smile. Is it another interview? Eduardo asked with a smile. Yes, Daniel said, with this one, there are now as many as 7 major media outlets, which shows how prosperous we are now. Are they triumphant? It is natural for anyone to change from a nameless status to the darling of major media vying to report. No one can remain calm. This is human nature, Daniel added. Eduardo, now apart from the interview, I think we should talk to Wald Pictures. What are you talking about? Of course it's about Blair Witch 2, and this time, we can't be as hasty as last time. This time without a director's pay of $2 million, we will never direct Blair Witch 2. After hearing Daniel's words, Adea nodded repeatedly. Only one Blair the Witch 1 movie did bring a lot of income for the two Daniels, plus a big red envelope given by Zhu Ke, a full income of millions of dollars, but they believe that compared with Wall they suffered a big loss for the income of German films. Should we get more for the sequel this time? In the afternoon of the same day, after being interviewed by the California Entertainment News, the two Daniel came to Wald Pictures. Vice President Kevin Fitch met them personally. Hi, welcome to you. Two genius directors. Kevin showed great enthusiasm. This is the case for film companies who can make money for the company is the uncle. It's nice to see you again, Mr. Fitch. Daniel and the two responded enthusiastically. After a good chat, Daniel opened his mouth and said, Mr. Fitch, I think it is time to strike while the iron is hot, and immediately announced to the outside world that Blair Witch 2 is about to start shooting. This will definitely have a huge effect on the box office of our movie. Yes, Eduardo quickly echoed, if the two of us go out and direct again, we will be able to create a higher box office by assembling the original crew. Happiness. Kevin Feige nodded frequently and even applauded in favor. The thoughts of the two of you just coincide with me. Kevin laughed really. Suddenly, Daniel and the two showed a look of surprise before the two of them could ask questions. Kevin said again, "Don't worry, you can start filming the second part. You two are still the best candidates for the director." "Thank you, I can't be thankful enough." Daniel and Ediato thanked again and again, but, suddenly, Kevin Feige showed embarrassment again. "Presumably you also know that it will take at least 4 to 8 months for the theater party to settle the revenue and income from us. Our company's funds are a little tight." Daniel, Ediato, "Shit, was Wald Pictures funds really nervous?" "Indeed, after all, the two films Harry Potter and Spider-Man require a lot of money, plus the start of shooting of Butterfly Effect and Reaper is coming, and then there is Crouching Tiger with an investment of tens of millions of dollars. Hidden Dragon and so on." It is true that Wald Pictures lacks liquidity, but if there is really no money, it is absolutely impossible. Among other things, Wald Pictures put out $30 million at a time, and that was no problem at all. But Zhuke, Kevin Feige and others agree that they will never start filming the second part of Blair the Witch in the near future. Now the successful dumping of the plot guarantees the innocence of Wald Pictures. Once the second film starts, it will inevitably damage the credit and reputation of Wald Pictures by then. Even if Blair the Witch can make a round of money, the loss of credit and word of mouth will not be able to make up for this profit. The reputation is bad, and it is not easy to restore it. That night Kevin Feige called and contacted Zhuke www.wuxiaspit.com. "I temporarily stabilized Daniel and Ediato." Kevin Feige said. Hearing this, Zhuke praised, "It's a good job. In addition to the successful marketing of Blair the Witch, what else is there? Let's do it again. Are the audiences really fools?" When the voice fell, Kevin was also happy at the time. "Boss, I suggest that after the box office of Blair the Witch stabilizes, I will take advantage of the trend to sell the copyright of the sequel of Blair Witch to other companies." Kevin suggested. "What can Zhuke do?" "Of course I agree, just bad money, just once. How many times do you see the audience still happy to be leaks? The second update is sent. The updates in these 2 days are relatively late. I'm really sorry. The author is attending other people's weddings and visiting relatives and friends. It's really useless. But please rest assured, the author will not owe more." Chapter 294, Britney Spears. At the end of July, Jin Shuguang Music Company Domino, the president and music director, led Zhu Ke and his party to visit the new address of Golden Dawn Music Company. In the first half of this year, the company developed steadily, achieved new breakthroughs in record sales, and recruited new personnel smoothly. Up to now, our music company has 13 groups of signed singers and 320 employees. The size of the company's original site is obviously not enough to run it. However, the new company address is completely different now. The Fickley building, with 2 floors underground and 9 floors above ground, with an office area of nearly 20,000 square meters, is ours. Domino is proud to introduce Zhuke and others. Zhuke, Alexander, and Victor Nod frequently choosing a new office address for Jin Shuguang Music is the result of discussions between Zhu Ke and Victor. Of course, the cost of purchasing the facility building at the new address is also very expensive, a full $20 million. In contrast, the walled building that Zucker bought in Silicon Valley is much cheaper. After all, the two positions are different. After a visit, everyone entered the meeting room of the new company one by one. Everyone sits. "Domino, it just happens that the boss is here, so you can report the recent results," CEO Victor said. "No problem." At this moment, Domino looked extremely confident. "In the past June, and in the coming July, our music company successively released Eminem's new album The Marshall Mathers LP and the second album Say My Name of the Destiny Girl Group. The former Eminem's new album has been released for nearly 2 months. It has sold 23 million copies worldwide and is expected to exceed 30 million copies in one fell swoop by the end of this year. At the same time, Eminem's new album The Marshall Mathers LP has 2 songs, all of which have entered the top 3 on the Billboard pop charts in June, and the popularity is not at the same time. It is estimated that it will wait until the Grammys will be held in January next year. Mew can win back a few trophies. The voice fellows Zhuke, Alexander, and Victor all nodded. Since Eminem became famous in the Got Talent, he has indeed made a lot of limelight. After releasing 3 albums in a row, he has become a well-known singer in the United States. Well, he is still that kind of singer with high popularity. Also, Eminem made a lot of money for the company. Victor sighed. Eminem is worth at least $500 million alone. Hearing that, Zhu Ke also smiled and said, "Victor, don't just talk about the value of records. Only the existence of Eminem has made a huge contribution to the enhancement of our company's brand value." After a pause, he continued, "Domino, you can talk about the new album of the Destiny Girl group." Domino nodded immediately. Although Beyoncé's Destiny Girl group is not as popular as Eminem, it is also a frontline existence among the many women's groups in the United States. Youth, vitality, hot dance, high-pitched voice, it has become the iconic feature of the Destiny Girl group. Users with a large number of fans, even in European countries, have many suitors. The Destiny Girl group, its first album released in 1998, sold for 1 year, and achieved a good result of 13.8 million copies. In July 1999, less than a month after the new album was released, 9.2 million records were sold worldwide. It is obvious that the sales of the new album surpassed the first album, Domino. The next company's main push should be Linkin Park and Britney Spears, Zhu Ke asked. Yes, Domino smiled and said, Linkin Park is today where rock music is down. It is one of the few teams that still insists on heavy metal rock music. Their creative ability and live performance are absolutely scarce in the market. I firmly believe that their new album can be obtained. A very good result. For Linkin Park, Domino is extremely confident. Of course, Zhu Ke is more confident as one of the world-famous rock bands in the future. If Linkin Park cannot succeed, who else can succeed? In the following time, Domino again divided the performance of Britney Spears. The conference has ended. However, Zhu Ke and his party did not leave the music company on this, but met with many signed singers collectively. Hi, Eminem. You are awesome. Thank you, Mr. Wald. Zhu greeted Eminem and said, Eminem, don't you know, I listen to every song of yours. I listen to it almost every day. Also, you are for Finding Nemo. I have also listened to the theme song I created. It is simply unparalleled. What can Eminem say? Of course he was very happy. Although on the stage, Eminem has always performed very coldly, but in private, he is still a good person. It can be seen from his music. You must know that Eminem is so awesome, not only because he broke the monopoly of rap monopolized by the black as a white, but also because of his strong personal style. Generally speaking, many rap singers create rap music, many of which are filled with the words porn, gambling, drugs, and feces, urine, fart, which makes many people feel disgusted and bored. But Eminem is different. Eminem's style is full of malice and curse. It is a deadly saliva with acid and corrosive ability. In the lyrics, the words reality is not what you want, you don't work hard, why are you destitute, and should not be degenerate constantly sting the reality of your nerves. Satire and criticism are his mainstream style. Hi, Britney, your brown hair color, I don't think it suits you. Seeing Zhao Xianshan, who will be famous and popular all over the world in the future, Zhu Ke suddenly mentioned her hair color. Mr. Wald, isn't it good that my natural hair color is brown? Zhao Xianshan was very puzzled. The rest of the people around also showed a thoughtful look. Zhu smiled and said, I think you should try blonde hair color, golden. Everyone was speechless. At the end of the 1990s, a saying in the United States suddenly became popular, called blondes must be brain dead. Even in many Hollywood movies, many blondes are mostly big-chested and no-brain types. It can be seen that people in this era have a natural aversion to blondes. In the future, many blonde women in Hollywood will dye their hair and switch to other hair colors. For example, Emma Stone, she dyed her blonde hair red. Amy Adams, she also changed to red. Angelina Jolie, her dark brown hair is one of her hallmarks, but her natural hair color is dark blonde, and so on. There are Zoe Dancher, Sophie Turner who plays Stark's patriarch in Game of Thrones, Kristen Stewart from Twilight Girl, and Leighton from Gossip Girl. Mr. Olivia Wilde, everywhere. Mr. Wald, are you sure you need me to dye blonde? Zhao Xianshan let out a horrified cry. I am sure, Zhu Ke firmly said, and I believe that changing to blonde hair will become one of your signs in the future. Is it? There was disbelief in Zhao Xianshan's tone. Alexander, Victor and Domino were also very skeptical, but the big boss spoke up, and they can't stand up against it, right? 1 hour later, my god, is this still me? After Britney Spears finished dyeing her hair www.wooksyaspit.com, she yelled and looked at herself in the mirror. Domino clapped his hands and said, correct. Extremely correct. Britney, you should have changed to blonde hair color long ago. I have to say that after changing her hair color, Zhao Xianshan is much more beautiful than her brown hair. Ever since, Zhu's fashion vision has been praised by everyone. How many people in the American entertainment industry hate blonde hair? So many people love blonde hair. Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron, Scarlett Johansson, Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Lopez. They are blonde enthusiasts. Their natural hair color is not blonde, but the world's impression of them must be blonde. The first update is sent. Chapter 295, Jinshuguang Entertainment Group and number 039's inventory in the first half of the year. August 1st, on this day, Zhu Ke successfully took a day off for himself, but even so, Zhu Ke couldn't take any time off, boss. This is the business report of the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group for the first half of the year. Well, there are many documents that need to be signed by you, Alexander, Director of the President's Office and Chief Assistant to the Chairman of Jinshuguang Entertainment Group, came to Zhu Ke's villa early in the morning. Oh. No, Zhu Ke patted his forehead desperately, and he immediately collapsed on the sofa. My rare vacation, it was ruined by you, Alexander, Zhu Ke complained deeply. Alexander chuckled, boss, you should understand that entrepreneurs don't have real vacations. What can Zhu Ke do? He is desperate. The business development has grown to the height it is today. This huge ship is no longer something Zhu Ke can stop. The entire Golden Dawn Entertainment Group has thousands of employees who will eat with Zhu Ke. It is impossible for them to stop the company. Before, even if Zhu Ke didn't want to move, others would push Zhu Ke forward. Come on, I did it too. Zhu Ke reluctantly accepted the thick stack of documents and flipped through it. The first thing that catches the eye is the operating statements of the various subsidiaries of the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group. In the first half of the year, Wald Pictures, as an important part of Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, it occupies a vital position in the group from the beginning of January this year to the end of July this year. It lasted nearly 8 months. Wald Pictures has successively produced and released 3 films, My Great Greek Wedding, 300 Spartans, and Blair the Witch. Of course. It also undertakes and distributes films from other film and television companies. This part up to 7 movies, My Grand Greek Wedding, achieved a box office of $259 million in North America, a box office of $138 million in overseas markets, and a cumulative global box office of up to $397 million. Moreover, the film broke the box office record of North American romantic movies in one fell swoop. Spartan 300 Warriors achieved $210 million in the North American box office. Overseas market box office is even more expensive, has already achieved $207 million in box office. Cumulative global box office results, $417 million at present. There are still a small number of theaters in North American theaters and long-term screenings, and it is expected that they will receive several $1 million in box office. Boss, just by relying on the box office revenue of these 2 films, our performance in the first half of the year was higher than that of the top second-tier DreamWorks. Alexander smiled and said, of course, if you add the revenue of Blair the Witch, even if it is compared with a Big Six, it won't be too much. Zhu Ke nodded. Immediately opened the income statement of Blair the Witch. As of June 30th, Blair the Witch had already achieved a box office of $140 million in North America, and a total of $56 million overseas. And the global gross box office was close to $200 million. The lowest cost movie in history that was built for $60,000 has really shocked many people. The box office of the 3 films at home and abroad is as high as $430 million. As for the other 7 films, they are produced by other films and distributed by Wald Pictures. With 9%-15% of North American box office revenue, the overall profit is also a lot. It has a profit of tens of millions of dollars. Although this amount of profit is inconspicuous compared to the profit of the 6 major distributions, it is a full 42% increase compared to the distribution profit of Wald Pictures in the same period last year. This has progressed the income of the offline market. The income of Wald Pictures has also increased a lot compared to the same period last year. DVD, videotape market, peripheral games, clothing, portrait rights, dolls, books, etc. are all profitable in the box office market, excluding various film costs, publicity costs, theater distribution, copying and other materials, taxes, etc. Wald Pictures accumulated a net profit of $240 million in the first half of this year. Of course, if you add peripheral profits, copyright operations and other profits, then the overall net profit will exceed $320 million. Boss, this $320 million is the result of pure profit. Compared to the second half of this year, the company will no longer worry about lack of cash. Alexander laughed. Haha. Zhu Ke curled his lips and said, it's too early to mention these. You don't know the urinary nature of the theaters. If you don't delay for a few months, can we expect all the profits to be accounted for? The second batch and the second batch of box office split accounts. That's pretty good, Alexander. Okay, Zhu Ke is screaming now. It's purely cheap and good. The film and television market is making money, but as Zhu Ke said, film is an investment with high risks and high returns, but with a long return to the current period. If it weren't for Zhu Ke's opening, Wald Pictures would not have such a high profit in the first half of today and the first half of this year. Wald Pictures was indeed a majestic one. Where's this? I am now waiting for Finding Nemo to be released. Once it is released, even if it cannot break the monopoly of Pixar and DreamWorks on 3D computer animation, it will definitely allow Waterworld Animation to occupy a place in the animation field. In addition to the strong performance of Wald Pictures, the remaining subsidiaries of the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group also performed outstandingly. TV Group, Golden Dawn Music, Waterworld Animation, SpongeBob SquarePants House, Golden Dawn Publishing, Under Armour Sports Goods Company, Manchester City Club. Their overall revenues have also increased compared with the same period last year, especially the TV Group. The performance is extremely amazing. It has jurisdiction over Upstart Television Network, which ranks number 3 in the U.S. limited pay field, and WB Television Network, which is number 8 in the U.S. public television field. Hot broadcasts and TV series such as Prison Break, The Walking Dead, The Big Bang Theory, Broken Sisters, variety shows such as Got Talent Show, Millionaire, WWE Reality Wrestling Entertainment, I Am a Celebrity, etc. In addition, it has received strong support from nearly 3,000 films in the Wald Pictures film library, attracting a large audience with many auras added. The revenue of Golden Dawn TV Group in the first half of this year exceeded $3.2 billion in one fell swoop, with a profit of $510 million. This performance is ranked 7th in the American television field. www.wooksiaspit.com, second only to the 6 television groups ABC, Fox, NBC, CBS, Paramount Online, and Comcast. This achievement is really impressive. After all, which one of the other 6 TV groups does not have decades of history, has worked hard for a long time, and has a very wide coverage? The size of the Golden Dawn TV Group is still far behind, but even so, Zhu Ke's name as Little TV Empire was completely recognized. August 3rd, Zhu Ke came to McAfee when the Finding Nemo premiere was 1 day away and the film was officially released in the United States for 3 days. McAfee, antivirus, will formally hold the 3rd voting meeting for the B round of share expansion today. Zhu Ke readily attends the appointment, and has the consideration of increasing his shareholding. The second update is sent. Chapter 296, No Profit Cannot Afford to Be Early. Santa Clara, California, United States. McAfee, Antivirus, Company. Hi, Dr. Sinkles, I didn't expect to meet you here. Zhu Ke had just entered the meeting room of McAfee, and met an old acquaintance among the shareholder representatives. Sinkles Mendez, male, 42 years old, graduated from Stanford University with a doctorate in theoretical computer science and a master's degree in financial market management. He has worked in Apple, IBM, and Citi Investment Bank successively. He joined Microsoft in 1996 and is currently the head of the Microsoft MSN project team and one of the senior vice presidents of Microsoft headquarters proper. Microsoft executives. Hi, Zhu Ke. Sinkles saw Zhu Ke. At first he was taken aback, and immediately shook hands with him, saying, Mr. Wald, we haven't seen each other for almost a year since ICQ's goodbye. This time, McAfee voted on the B round of financing. For the meeting, I didn't expect you to come in person. Why can't I come in person? Zhu Ke smiled. Sinkles laughed and said, for you, who has a net worth of tens of billions, I think you won't take it to heart with McAfee's share expansion meeting. Zhu Ke shook his head and said, I invested money anyway, just one. McAfee, why bother you condescending to come here? Sinkles said again. Zhu Ke waved his hand, you don't wear high hats for me. My wealth is only 1/10 of your boss Bill Gates. I am not a rich man. The two talked cordially. Actually, well shit, Sinkles is testing Zhu Ke right now. After all, Microsoft wants to occupy the magpie's nest and take a controlling stake in McAfee. Damn, why did this guy come here in person? Maybe it's going to happen. Sinkles squinted at this moment. Zhu Ke was also quite upset. Fuck, why are there Microsoft everywhere? Zhu Ke cursed secretly. Microsoft in the United States of America in the late 1990s. Microsoft was a behemoth, like a giant. Apart from its dominance in computer system software, its tentacles have crazily extended to all walks of life in the United States. Especially in the internet field, Microsoft is spreading the internet, using huge cash flow to grab all the resources that can be seized, and its huge appetite wants to become the overlord of the entire internet field. With the passage of time, representatives of various shareholders have come one after another. Zhu Ke is undoubtedly the person with the highest net worth among all the people present, but other people are not idlers. Apart from the billionaires themselves, many of them hold senior positions in large companies. Is he Zhu Ke Wald? Yes, it's him. God, he is too young. Although I learned from the media that he is the youngest billionaire in the United States, I can see it with my own eyes at this moment, and there is still a sense of trance. Haha, Not to mention you, but I feel like I have lived as a dog for decades. I have to say, his vision is good enough. Yes, he's Zhu Ke Wald invested in McAfee as early as the end of August 1997. At that time, McAfee was only a younger brother in the antivirus industry. Who knows how strong it is now? Damn it, why didn't I look at McAfee so early? All the shareholders and shareholder representatives present, looking at the young Zhu Ke, who was a little too overwhelmed, couldn't help but whisper discussions. Envy, jealousy, anger, pride, all kinds of emotions are constantly reflected in everyone, of course. There is no shortage of people who want to be friends. One more friend and one more road are not just proverbs owned by the East. Not long after, McAfee chairman and CEO George Samanuc appeared on the scene. The third voting meeting for the B round of share expansion officially began. Everyone, as of now, in the past 2 months, as many as 17 companies, individuals, investment banks, and funds have expressed their eagerness to buy shares to McAfee. For this reason, in half a month, we also held 2 rounds of voting meetings. This is the third and final vote. I hope everyone will be cautious, for or against. The decision is in everyone's hands. As George Samanuc's voice fell, the current shareholders immediately started talking again. Approval of share expansion obviously can win a considerable cash flow from McAfee, allowing the company to further develop. Opposition to share expansion is the idea of most shareholders. They firmly believe that McAfee should now fight steadily and plan new antivirus software and systems instead of blindly expanding the market. George Samanuc said, "I'm going to make a statement first. I don't agree to increase shares and raise funds now." Suddenly, several shareholders and shareholder representatives nodded in agreement. I object. At this moment, Sphinx, a 5.1% shareholder, stepped forward. Everyone, the internet market is so good now, and McAfee stock price is also rising. It is a good time to officially expand. How can you let this opportunity pass? Sphinx said. Fart, a grumpy shareholder immediately roared. Sphinx, don't think I don't know your little abacus. What do you want to do? You are not Microsoft's dog legs. Treat us as fools. Another shareholder echoed. Microsoft wants a controlling stake in McAfee, so why is it so much? Rude. Sphinx looked ugly. Everyone knows that Microsoft wants to occupy the magpie's nest. Many people yelled at Sphinx. Of course, the representative of Microsoft Shickles also joined the battlefield. The entire conference room is extremely noisy at this moment. Zhu Ke was stunned. It was the first time for Zhu Ke to participate in McAfee's shareholder meeting. He never expected that the internal conflicts within the board of directors would be so intensified. Everyone knows the heart of Sima Zhao. Ahem. Chairman George Samanuc looked ugly and shouted, "Everyone, be quiet, rest for half an hour, and we will discuss." Tisk tusk, it's really wonderful. Zhu Ke joked, everything is because of profit. In 1997, when Zhu Ke first took a stake in McAfee, the overall market price of McAfee was less than $50 million, but now, $300 million. In just 2 years, McAfee stood out from a crowd of antivirus software companies with a valuation of up to $300 million. Moreover, many people are optimistic about the height that McAfee, which is recognized by the market, can reach in the future. A valuation of $1 billion is definitely not the limit of McAfee. In fact, Zhu Ke wants to say, just kidding. As the world's second largest antivirus software supplier in the future, the value of McAfee can be measured with more than $1 billion. Microsoft is an existence that wants to get involved in any industry, and they will naturally not let McAfee go. The rest of the shareholders, including Chairman George Samanuc, are naturally unwilling to sit back and watch Microsoft Holdings McAfee. Therefore, the current 15% stake held by Zhu Ke is somewhat intriguing. During the break, Chairman George Samanuc personally wooed Zhu Ke Wald, you don't want Microsoft to dilute your shares. Therefore, we are on the same front. We absolutely cannot expand our shares at this stage to allow Microsoft's conspiracy to come true. George Samanuc said solemnly, what you said makes sense, Zhu Ke nodded heavily. Not long. Microsoft representative Shinkles also came to Zhu. Zhu, we are old friends. You can give me a quasi-word. What do you think of the stock expansion? Shinkles asked with a smile. Zhu spread his hands and said blankly, I don't have any opinion. Shinkles, Nima www.uxiaspit.com. Is this pretending to be confused? Shinkles said solemnly. Zhu, stop joking with me. Zhu Ke laughed and said, didn't you make a joke with me first? In a word, there are not enough benefits. Why can you win me over? Empty mouth, white teeth, empty gloves, white wolf, want to be beautiful. Don't forget, Zhu Ke is an unprofitable master. A long time. Shinkles groaned. Wait for a few minutes, and I will call Mr. Gates. In an instant, Zhu Ke became amiable. You were right to do this a long time ago. There is no benefit these days, so why let others charge for you? Chapter 297, Who Dosnan number 039, T have a few enemies? Now the meeting continues. Agree to start the B round of financing at this stage? Please raise your hand. Chairman George Samanuk is very confident. He believes that the majority of shareholders and shareholder representatives are on his side. It is not difficult to judge the results of the previous two votes. Microsoft's ambition to next McAfee is a result that most people don't want to see. I agree. I still stick to my judgment, and increase the stock financing to speed up the company's development. Shareholders Fink took the lead as soon as the voice fell. One or two shareholders cursed secretly. Really shit. I agree. The person who spoke this time is a representative of Fingan Software Company. It also has a number of cooperation with Microsoft. It basically follows Microsoft for dinner. Of course, it must do a good job of charging for the host. Seconded. Agree. I didn't say anything. I support it. In a blink of an eye, those who agree to start the B round of financing have already held up to 27% of the shares. There are not many shareholders left who have not voted. Mr. Wald, what's your opinion? Chairman George Samanuk looked at Zucker with a smile. Zhu's opinion, he dare not ignore. With 15% of the shares, Zhu became the second largest shareholder of McAfee, second only to George Samanuk's 24%. Zhu Ke's opinion can be said to be very important, but I don't worry about him. As long as this guy Zhu Ke Wald is not stupid, he will certainly not let Microsoft be proud, otherwise he will be the one who suffers. George Samanuk secretly said in his heart. I agree. Zhu smiled. Wow. As soon as the voice fell, there was an uproar at the scene. George Samanuk looked at Zhu like a ghost, and said in astonishment, Mr. Wald, I didn't seem to understand it just now. You say it again. I agree to open the B round of share expansion. Zhu Ke put his hands on the table, playing with a taste. As Mr. Sphinx said, the opening of the expansion at this stage can raise a large amount of cash flow for McAfee, accelerate the pace of development, and gain market share. What's wrong? I am an investor, and I think there is no problem with my approach. George Samanuk's face remained the same, but a storm surged in his heart. He never thought that Zhu Ke would support Microsoft. What the is going on? A shareholder asked in a low voice to the person beside him. The man shook his head and said, You ask me. Who am I asking? Many people present began to discuss. Zhu Ke Wald himself did not attend the meeting the first two times, but his representative has always been on Mr. Samanuk's side. How could he suddenly turn against him? There is a problem here, Pompey, aren't you nonsense? Who doesn't know that there is a problem? It is probably good to take advantage of it. Damn it, this is simply introducing a wolf into the room. It is necessary to know that the original percentage of approval has reached 27%, and with Zhu Ke's 15% approval, the number of votes supporting the opening of the B round of share expansion has reached 42%. At the same time, Microsoft holds McAfee shares, but 10%. This means that there is no need for other people to vote, and the total proportion has exceeded 50%. Microsoft won the victory of the board of directors. Haha, the representative of Microsoft Shinkles proudly said, although I still need to express my views, I believe that needless to say, you also know our opinions. However, I still have to say that I will start at this stage on behalf of Microsoft. B round financing, vote yes. Ha ha ha, it should have been this way. Shareholders Fink clapped and applauded. The shareholders representatives of the entire Microsoft department are very happy at this moment. Humph, George Samanuk snorted coldly, his heart full of unwillingness. He really didn't understand what Zhu was thinking. Normal people who would agree to let Microsoft take control, as we all know, for companies controlled by Microsoft, their follow-up actions are bound to increase capital injection and dilute the equity of other shareholders. However, it is too late to say anything now. The dust is settled, After the meeting, George Samanuk, chairman of McAfee, once again met Zhu Ke alone. Mr. Zhu Ke Wald, how can you support Microsoft? What good is this for you? Don't you worry about your shares being diluted by Microsoft. George Samanuk asked 3 times in a row. Zhu shrugged and said with a smile, Microsoft agreed to sell some of Apple's stock they hold to me at the market price. You said, what reason do I have to oppose? Then you don't care about McAfee's life or death. Samanuk gritted his teeth at this moment. He was full of anger. His gaze was like a sharp knife, staring at Zhu. Damn, who are you scaring? Haha. Please, just let Microsoft win a game. What's the big deal? You are too pessimistic. Zhu Ke joked. You if Zhu doesn't support Microsoft, can Microsoft have nothing to do? Do not. As far as Zhu Ke knows, 2 months later in the original space-time history, Microsoft once again launched a B round of financing plan, and with a 54% approval rate, the vote was forcibly passed. In other words, even if Zhu is on Samanuk's side, Microsoft still has a way to vote. In that case, why not trade Apple stock through Microsoft? Besides, others don't understand Samanuk. Isn't Zhu as a traverser also? Microsoft is strong, yes, but Samanuk is not a good bird either. In 2007, the American regulatory agency launched an investigation on McAfee's financial statements for the past 10 years and found that McAfee has huge problems with non-cash expenditures related to stock option awards. The amount of expenditure in question is as high as $100 to $150 million. For this reason, McAfee president Kevin Weiss was fired. As many as 12 senior executives from McAfee resigned. Even Chairman Samanuk himself was forced to retire early. Although there is no name of Samanuk in the list of offenders announced by the American regulatory agency, as long as they are not blind, they know that Samanuk is bound to be involved in this matter. Mr. Wald, you will regret it sooner or later, but Microsoft is the one who eats people without spitting out bones. Samanuk put down a cruel word and threw Zhu back. Zhu Ke also sneered coldly. Regret it. Regardless of how strong Microsoft is now. www.uxiaspit.com, its tentacles extend to all corners of the internet, but by 2000, Microsoft was investigated by relevant departments and accused of forming a monopoly. Coupled with the arrival of the internet bubble, Microsoft will try to maintain with sufficient cash chain. He could only sell a large number of shares in holding companies with tiers. Well, that includes McAfee shares, so what is there to worry about? Louds. Even if Microsoft doesn't give up McAfee by then, it will be fine. Compared to Apple's future momentum, what is McAfee? Zhu Ke has been thinking about the Apple stock held by Microsoft for a long time. Go home by car. Alexander suddenly said, Boss, you have offended Samanuk to death. Hearing that, Zhu Ke disdainfully said, if you offend, you will offend. There are not many enemies these days, so what can I do with Samanuk? I'm afraid of him? Haha. The second update was sent, and the minister continued to open the third update. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298, Finding Nemo moves forward. Go ahead. August 5th, the Jescent movie theater owned by Los Angeles Emperor Entertainment. It is the largest fixed cinema under Emperor Entertainment, and one of the largest cinemas with the best equipment and most luxurious facilities in the entire Los Angeles area. Back to the Future, Terminator, Jurassic Park. There are no shortage of world-renowned films, all of which are film premieres held at the Gazan cinemas today. It was contracted by Wald Pictures, who told the Finding Nemo movie to have its premiere today. As the highly anticipated Waterworld animation company, this film produced the first cinema animation feature film, including 2A Cinemations of SpongeBob SquarePants and Peppa Pig. The pearls and jade are in front, and naturally it has attracted attention from all parties. Many media reporters gathered here early in the morning. Even giant media such as NBC, ABC, and CBS sent a crew to interview and report in order to promote this film. Wald Pictures invested heavily, and only the initial promotional expenses. It spent $15 million television, radio, subway advertising, print media, the internet. Wald Pictures have all lost their money. Hi, Zhu. Congratulations, another movie is released. Rio Slim congratulated Zhu. Thank you. For the young Rio Slim in front of him, Zhu couldn't wait any longer. Rio Slim is the eldest grandson of the richest man in Mexico and telecommunications mogul Carlos Slim. the fifth-in-line heir to the Slim family's property, and the head of the American branch of the Carlos Foundation, let alone Zhu Ke. No one in the United States will despise him. Rio. Zhu Ke, you can do a great job in the near future. A film with a production cost of only $60,000 has harvested $150 million in the North American box office. Rio praised. Hearing this, Zhu Ke waved his hand. It's okay. I didn't treat you the Carlos Foundation for the investment in the last Spartan 300 warriors. That's nothing to say. Rio's complexion immediately became ruddy in terms of film and television. Its proportion is completely a drop in the investment for the Carlos Foundation. But why do many international capitals, including those from the UAE and Asia, repeatedly invest in American film and television business, all for publicity? How much is the movie worth? For those big bosses, publicizing their company is the kingly way. Zhu Ke smiled and said, Riddle, don't be jealous of the revenue of Blair the Witch. Look, Spider-Man and Harry Potter will definitely make more money. I believe it. Rio entered the venue with a big laugh. Zhu Ke crossed over and didn't have many friends, and Rio was a good friend. Zhu Ke, you have a new person, but you forgot the old person. At this moment, a ridicule came from behind Zhu Ke. Zhu Ke turned around. Yes, really an acquaintance, the famous Jobs classmate, John Lasseter. Andrew Stanton. Hey, my friends, I can look forward to you. If my Finding Nemo hadn't been supported by your Pixar animation, it would be a great regret. Zhu Ke enthusiastically had a bear hug with him, and Jobs did the same. After all, the reporters around were pressing the shutter frantically, and the flash was constantly on. Well, classmate Jobs's face is very ugly. Old guy, give some face, take a picture now. Hey, just treat me as an Apple shareholder, will it work? Zhu Ke patted Steve Jobs, who was a little stiff. HMPH, just give you face. Jobs replied. Zhu couldn't help laughing. The old guy is really an insincere, arrogant ghost. After taking the photo, and briefly chatting, the three of Jobs entered the venue. However, John Lasseter was at the end and whispered a few words in Zhu Ke's ear. Zhu Ke, don't you know Jobs' temperament? Furthermore, at the premiere of Bug Crisis last year, you didn't forget the thing you knocked over Jobs? He still remembers it now. Hearing this, Zhu Ke couldn't help laughing out loud. Last year, Zhu Ke accidentally knocked over Jobs, and afterwards carried out a show operation that was Steve Jobs, who fell to the ground, halfway through, and then forcibly pressed back. This operation is ruthless. In the next time, after the invited people from all walks of life arrived, Zhu Ke talked with them enthusiastically. Guide ZHA, after Spartan 300 warriors, I have been resting for so long. When do I plan to start making a new movie? The script and the funding. I am ready for you, Zhu Ke said. Zack Snyder waved his hand and said, I was so tired a few years ago. I made 4 movies in a row, and I plan to take a few months off. For the director of his own biggest name, Zuckerna is a kind of love. Nolan, if you have any difficulties in Butterfly Effect, you should bring it up. Old Bill and Kevin will definitely help you solve them. If they can't, then I will come, Zhu Ke said. Christopher Nolan nodded. I haven't encountered any problems yet, and Mr. Mitnick and Mr. Fitch are both here. I believe there is no problem to stump them. Jonathan Nolan smiled on the sidelines and said nothing. The Nolan brothers are also the king-fried combination in Zhu Ke's hands. Many Hollywood stars such as Zia Ozzie, Fewin, Theron, Will Smith, Jessica Chastain, Angelina Jolie, and Jackie Quinn also appeared at the premiere. Scene one after another. It is no exaggeration to say that Zhu Ke's energy is amazing enough now. The star-studded scene definitely does not lose much to the Oscars. Boss, everything is done. At this time, Zhu Ke's first drug leg, Chief Assistant Alexander, came to Zhu Ke's side. Zhu Ke immediately smiled and said, It seems that the dealers and surrounding chain stores of all parties are very optimistic about our Finding Nemo. Alexander smiled and said, after all, Waterworld Animation has SpongeBob SquarePants and Peppa Pig jewels in front, and they have watched Finding Nemo in advance, so naturally they have confidence in us. Oh? How much did it cost? Zhu Ke asked. www.wuxiaspitcom $10,000. Alexander proudly said, a total of $48 million have been sold for authorized dolls, clothing, keychains, etc. in the 50 states of the United States. When Zhu Ke heard this, he smiled immediately. Finding Nemo was authorized to sell for $48 million in the United States. Although it is far less than the $117.5 million authorized to sell on the body of Pixar animation Bug Crisis last year, it is the first cinema animation of Waterworld. The long film, with a price tag of $48 million, is already excellent enough. After all, This is a result that has not been tested by the market. I will ignore the authorization of the next animation without paying $100 million. Okay, classmate Zhu Ke is a little floating. The third update is sent thanks to CSJ Zhuang for rewarding 500, and thanks to Universe Cloud for rewarding again. Chapter 299, in theaters. Excited Andrew. Finding Nemo has begun. The city scenes that appeared in the beginning of the chapter are drawn one by one, so that the whole city is shining brightly under the shining of the sun. The style of the seabed. Whether it is a coral reef, or swaying water plants, sparkling seas, groups of fishes swimming happily, naughty bubbles rising from the bottom of the sea, all in all, showing the magnificent scenery. Even the treatment of water patterns on the seabed and sea surface appears so real and natural. The opening part directly shows the profound knowledge of Water World Animation Company in the field of all computer animation production. It's so beautiful, like a magical world. Scarlett Johansson, who was invited, instantly beamed. Jessica Chastain on the side could not help but nod. I followed Zhu Ke before and saw this opening design drawing at Water World Animation Company, but I didn't expect it to be so drifting after the film was finished. Oh, see it. This is the power of watermarking technology. Andrew Stanton whispered to Jobs. Jobs stunned. Is it Pixar, who authorized the water texture processing technology of Water World Animation? Not completely, John Lasseter said solemnly. Obviously, Water World Animation has perfected this technology on the original basis. Well, don't forget, David Messer, who joined Water World Animation from Pixar. It has such strength. David Messer, one of the former Pixar animation employees, the current vice president of Water World Animation. The flowers are stuck in the cow dung. He is the pearl secretly voted. Jobs was a little unhappy after all. David Messer left from Jobs' company, and whoever changes will feel a little emotional at the moment, of course. This emotion dissipated after a while. Pixar's hanging force is called the world's first. Don't look at the Water World Animation perfecting this water texture processing technology, but if Pixar thinks about it, it will definitely reach or even exceed the level of the Water World Animation in a very short time. Pixar Animation, King status. At the same time, the opening of the original Finding Nemo does not show the city style, and the Water World Animation made this entirely for the preparation of the story of the next urban plot of Finding Nemo. Of course, it also means to show the level of the Water World Animation industry. The story follows. The clownfish Marlin and the clownfish Coral couple appear. The two of them looked expectantly at the 400 red fish eggs in front of them that looked like bright red fruits. Coral, the clownfish mother, said softly, "We should have named them, Dad. Marin, name all the kids, now. Well, for this half, we call them Little Marin, and the other half, we call them Little Coral." Well, it's done. After speaking, the clownfish father Marlin left eagerly. Nemo. Well, I like the name Nemo. The face of the clownfish mother Coral was full of maternal brilliance. Finding Nemo Animation, also known as Finding Nemo, the protagonist of the film Nemo, the clownfish, officially appears. Of course, it is still just a fish roe. The warm scene is always so short. A big shark appeared. The clownfish couple immediately faced great danger, and their 400 unborn babies were also facing extinction. Women are weak, but how can they be mothers? Coral, the clownfish mother, rushed to the big shark resolutely. No, come back. Coral, the clownfish father Marin yelled hoarsely. But the clownfish mother Coral was very resolute. In order to protect the child, she obviously did it. Marlin was stunned by the tail of the big shark. When he woke up, it was dark. The clownfish mother Coral is gone. Of 400 fish eggs, only one remained. In other words, he has only one child. The clownfish Marlin was desperate. He also has a child, and he wants to pull him up. The beginning of the offering to the mother, the magic is boundless, but as the story develops, shortly after the birth of little Nemo, in an accident, the clownfish father Marin and Nemo dispersed. Mana +1 again. Finding Nemo Animation really started here. After all, the film is also called Finding Nemo. Female blue tang kingfish Dolly, Nigel, an old pelican living in Sydney Harbour, Australia. Old sea turtle Carusi, the angelfish who thinks of himself as the black boss, Jeje. There are also major roles such as Ateo, Teacher Lay, Jacques, and Carlos. All appearing on the stage. The magnificent ocean scene and magnificent city scene, like a picture scroll, slowly displayed in front of all the audience. Awesome. Andrew Stanton, one of Pixar's 5 tigers, praised, "I have to say that this is one of the best computer animations to date, with resonating stories and beautiful pictures, all of which are huge visuals and joy." In most animations, the mother always plays the role of a hero, But in this animation, the cowardly and timid clownfish Father Marin, he also plays a great hero, lovely Nemo, very anthropomorphic, and so witty. This is a great work. Special effects are okay, style of painting is okay, songs are okay. Character modeling is even better. The best thing is the touching affection between father and son. Oh my god. I just love this animation. From watching the movie Finding Nemo, Andrew Stanton showed a state of extreme excitement and excitement, perhaps as he said, he loves this animation to death. Can you be quiet for a few minutes, man? John Lasseter hid his face. Jobs looked at the people around with playful expressions calmly, and the corners of his mouth twitched at this moment. What a shame, Nemo man. Stop for a while. You represent Pixar animation. Zhu looked at Andrew Stanton in the row behind him and chuckled in a low voice. Old friend, if you like it, I will give you a copy of the full version of Finding Nemo animation DVD in the near future. Oh, as expected of my good friend, I thank you so much. Andrew suddenly showed an expression of excitement at this moment. His eyes are shining. Boss, Mr. Stanton is too exaggerated? Well, or exaggerated, CEO Victor whispered. Hearing this, Zhu Ke smiled slightly and said calmly, Victor, you don't understand. Don't understand. Of course he didn't understand Victor Jones. In fact, apart from Zhu's accident www.wooksyaspit.com, no one at the scene knows why Andrew Stanton loves Finding Nemo so much. In the original time and space history, the script creator of the Finding Nemo movie was exactly him, Andrew Stanton. At the same time, the director of the film is also him. Shooting an ocean story is Andrew Stanton's childhood dream. Now, Finding Nemo, which was cut by Zhu Ke, is released, which perfectly fits all Andrew's ideas. How can he not be excited? Tisk tut. At this moment, Xiaoli, who was sitting not far away, suddenly smiled at Jack next to him. Extremely outstanding animation film, Waterworld Animation Company, is going to be famous. Jacques Phoenix nodded and said, children must like this movie. No, I am an adult, too. The first update is sent. Chapter 300, it surpasses Pixar animation. DreamWorks Animation is one of the big three of DreamWorks, and the head of DreamWorks Animation, Jeffrey Katzenberg, is leading a team to produce an animated film called Break into the Golden City. 1 month ago, he also received the premiere invitation of Waterworld Animation, but he is not available today. Big guy, work harder. We are striving to complete the film before the end of October so that it can be released on time during Thanksgiving. The media and people in the industry say that we are inferior to Pixar animation? Then this time we will compete on Thanksgiving, and we will never lose. Jeffrey Katzenberg sighed. The employees of DreamWorks Animation also want to fight for a sigh of relief, because most of them previously came from Disney Animation. Katzenberg was once the head of Disney Animation, but they were ruthlessly swept out by Michael Eisner, known as the Disney Tyrant. Of course they are not reconciled. They want to retaliate against Disney and defeat Disney in the field of animation, and Pixar Animation, as a senior partner of Disney, is included in the list of key strikes. Guys, do you remember the animated film Prince of Egypt we released last year? Katzenberg said again. Remember, everyone present nodded solemnly. Shame. Don't dare to forget, our Prince of Egypt animation film took nearly 2 years to complete. Hundreds of our workers have devoted great efforts and sweat. It has achieved a total box office of $270 million worldwide. Let us DreamWorks Animation become famous in one fell swoop. But media reporters and workers in the same industry, what did they say? They said, DreamWorks Animation lacks soul. They said, the Prince of Egypt is a complete product of industrial piling, handicrafts, and fast food cultural works. They said, Prince of Egypt is taking advantage of Pixar Animation. Without the market opened by Toy Story Jade, Prince of Egypt can get $50 million at the box office. Thank God. I'm going to fucking, they're all farting. Since then, in addition to his feud with Disney, Katzenberg has completely hated Pixar Animation, the second of 10,000 years. This is the definition of DreamWorks Animation by countless media reporters. How can the DreamWorks Animation staff led by Katzenberg be convinced? Ding ding ding. At this moment, Katzenberg's personal phone rang. The person who called is surprisingly Spielberg, one of the big three of DreamWorks and one of the world's most famous directors. You ask, what am I doing? What do you say I can do? Of course, I am making Brave the Golden City animation. Don't worry, I have confidence in it. Not to mention that I will win Pixar Animation's Toy Story 2, but I will not lose it. I have confidence. On the phone, Katzenberg kept expressing determination. However, Spielberg's next words directly made Katzenberg stand still on the scene, and even some doubts about life. Jeffrey, I just attended the premiere of Finding Nemo, jointly organized by Wald Pictures and Waterworld Animation. Did you know? It is a very clever and imaginative film. It's so beautiful that it's worth anyone watching it a second time just by looking at the picture. It's definitely a huge regret for you not to come today, even. I feel it is much better than Toy Story. Yes, you heard me right. This Finding Nemo of Waterworld Animation is bound to explode. Katzenberg froze for more than 10 seconds. Then hung up the phone decisively. Impossible. This is what Katzenberg gave. Although he is extremely hostile to Pixar animation, at the same time he has to admit that Pixar is very powerful at this stage, and Toy Story is an extremely excellent animation work. He does not think that Waterworld Animation Company can surpass Pixar. What, are you kidding? Director Spielberg, is it an exaggeration? Waterworld Animation Company, what does it have? Did they just produce 2 animations with poor screen quality, Peppa Pig and SpongeBob SquarePants? Can they compare with us? Can they compare with Pixar? It's a big surprise. Everyone at DreamWorks Animation suddenly became angry. If Finding Nemo Animation surpasses Pixar's existing animation works, then what is their DreamWorks? What is the hard work of hundreds of them over the years? Since the establishment of DreamWorks Animation, there has been a goal, that is to defeat Disney Animation, crush Pixar Animation, and become the king of the global animation field. But, what is this now, at this moment? That is, classmate Zhu Ke is not here, otherwise he would have to say, little brother, you have taken a picture. In 2007, the well-known American media newspaper USA Today published an article. It claims, Finding Nemo animation film is the best one of all Pixar movies. All that is said here includes Toy Story the first and second parts, Bugs and Monster Electric Company. Nemo presented a sweet, joyous, resonant feast and visually beautiful enjoyment to the family audience. This article greatly praised Finding Nemo, and the best remarks have also been affirmed and recognized by many celebrities. Well, at least until 2007, the Finding Nemo movie was Pixar's best animated movie. The next day, Golden Shugwang Entertainment Group Zhu Ke had just entered the company and arrived in his office. He saw a dozen newspapers and periodicals neatly placed on the desk. Kigu published a special commentary on the animation, Finding Nemo, which was premiered yesterday. California Entertainment and Los Angeles Entertainment, 2 newspapers, naturally needless to say as a loyal partner and dogfighter of the Golden Aurora Entertainment Group, they have never published a rebuttal, abuse of the Golden Aurora Group or any of its subsidiaries. Their articles will always be for Zhu Ke and the Golden Aurora Group. Flowers clustered, and generous words of praise. California Entertainment published an article, Great Animation Company Waterworld Animation. Los Angeles Entertainment News published an article saying, Finding Nemo the best gift for children. As for other media newspapers in the United States, although the words are not as flattering and explicit as the California Entertainment and Los Angeles Entertainment, there is no lack of praise. Clownfish Nemo, Dad Marlin, touching affection between father and son, people and animals, magnificent ocean, all kinds of vocabulary. You reading www.youcanchu.com continued to appear in the media and newspapers, and immediately appeared in the eyes of many people who bought newspapers. Even some overseas peripheral licensors and distributors are not reluctant to be lonely, and directly contact Waterworld Animation, wanting to obtain peripheral licenses in advance, like the local distributors in the United States, before the movie is released. However, Zhurk of the Chicken Thief refused. Finding Nemo is hot and ready to go! Exclamation mark. The second update of is sent, asking for a wave of support. Cute and cute. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.